Twins and the Detroit Tigers set to close a 4-game series at Target Field in Minneapolis this afternoon. But all eyes in Twins territory were on Cooperstown today as Bert Blyleven was a part of the class of 2011, joining Robbie Alomar and Pat Gillick in the induction ceremony. Bert Blyleven circling the Twins fans, posing with his bust. Fans here at Target Field able to watch the ceremony on the big screen and hear Bert's acceptance speech into the Hall of Fame. Hi, everyone. Welcome to Target Field. I'm Anthony LaPanta, filling in for Dick Bramer, who's with Bert in Cooperstown this afternoon. A very special day for Twins fans, for the Twins organization, and people who have followed Bert's career. Statistically, certainly well-deserving of the honor, but for Bert, it's much more than just the numbers. A great person, a Hall of Fame personality, and his speech today included humor and heartfelt thoughts.
I guess I have to ask the first thing over here to cameras. Are we live? I know a lot of you are probably waiting for me to do something silly or stupid. Well, not today, but another day for sure. No hot foots and no mooning. Today I take a lot of pride in being inducted into the Baseball Hall of Fame. To be inducted into the Baseball Hall of Fame is the highest honor an athlete can get. I am very thankful for this honor.
An honor for Bert Blyleven, certainly, but as Roy Smalley joins me, it's also an honor for Bert's teammates to watch him go into the Hall.
It's a great honor for all of us to be a teammate of a guy that's in the Hall of Fame, and so deservingly so. Can't be happier for Bert. Well deserved. We waited a long time for this. He waited an extremely long time for this. It's finally here, and he's finally in there.
Twins go for the split of the series with the Tigers. More on a special day in Twins territory and the Twins' pursuit of a split next.
Sports North is brought by your local Northland Ford dealers. Visit your local Northland Ford dealer or go to northlandford.com. And by Menards. Save big money on all your home improvement needs at Menards.
For the second straight series, the Twins trying to win the back two of a 4-game set. Today it's against the Detroit Tigers here on Fox Sports North. I'm Robbie Mikowski. Thanks for joining us. Burt Blyleven, officially a member of baseball's Hall of Fame. When you look at his numbers, they're undeniable. The wins, strikeouts, complete games, and the shutouts. I asked a couple Twins starter pitchers earlier, what about those numbers impresses you most?
I have to say, the strikeouts, because it shows a high level of dominance. And as a pitcher, as a starting pitcher, you like that be part of your repertoire, and complete games and wins. I mean, that's what we go in there for.
The complete games and the shutouts. I know the game was a little different back then, but my gosh, I mean, can you imagine a guy doing that nowadays? That's extremely impressive.
Extremely impressive it is for Burt Blyleven, and he's into the Hall of Fame. Today it's Francisco Liriano on the hill, Joe Mauer behind the plate. Twins and Tigers, first pitch, next on Fox Sports North.
I think the shutouts to me, just because, I mean, everyone knows he has great stuff and he's going to strike a lot of guys out, but I feel like to go, complete games, giving up no runs is hard enough in itself, especially coming from my point of view, and I feel like it feels almost impossible all the time to me, but the fact that he did it, 60 times is ridiculous.
The one that probably stands out the most is 60 shutouts. I mean, just that number is, it's like video game numbers that you're talking about, especially in this day and age. I think to even try and duplicate that in today's game is might be impossible.
Twins pitchers very impressed with the numbers posted by Hall of Famer Burt Blyleven. 287 wins, over 3,700 strikeouts, that's fifth most all time. 60 shutouts, ninth most in the history of the game. And it's certainly worthy of taking notice for the young Twins pitchers on the current staff.
I agree with what those young guys were saying, that the complete games and shutouts are those are ridiculous numbers in any era, but especially these guys looking at it now, they have to think, what the heck are we doing?
take a look at the Menards batting order for the Detroit Tigers in this final game of a 4-game series. Jim Leland will send Austin Jackson at the top of the lineup. Brennan Bosch, Maglio Ordonez, Miguel Cabrera. Middle of the lineup has been key throughout the series. Victor Martinez and Johnny Peralta, who's been the toughest out for the Twins. 8 for 13 so far in the series. Ryan Rayburn, Wilson Benameat, and Ramon Santiago. Martinez among several Tiger hitters who have posted very good numbers against Francisco Liriano in their careers. And Liriano starts Jackson with a strike.
And the scouting report on Francisco Liriano, he must command the fastball, and in case we're not really clear about that, he must command the fastball. And that's just going to be the key for Frankie. He's got to be able to throw the fastball not only over the plate early and often, but where in the strike zone he wants to throw it when he needs a big pitch.
0-1 to Austin Jackson is high. 1 ball, 1 strike. Jackson prone to the strikeout. 108 times he struck out this year. That's the second most in the American League. The Twins have fanned him 5 times in the series. Chop to third. Easy play for Valencia. And Jackson is retired to start the Tiger first. Our Northland Ford Twins defense. Delman Young, Ben Revere, Jason Kubel in the outfield. Danny Valencia, Tsuyoshi Nishioka, Alexi Casilla, Michael Kadire in the infield. And Liriano will throw to Joe Mauer, with Brennan Bosch coming to the plate against Liriano. Bosch has one of the 4 Tiger home runs in the series.
Really good looking young left-hand hitter who's learning to hit left-handers this year. Had trouble with them last year, has good numbers against left-handers this year in almost 100 at bats, so he's getting a chance to play against them, and he's producing. And the reason I said make the emphasis on Francisco Liriano throwing his fastball over, having command of the fastball. If he's throwing strikes with that fastball, they will swing at his slider.
Up the middle, Casilla backhands, throws on the run, but it pulls Kadire off the bag. And it'll be an infield hit for Brennan Bosch.
Nice try by Lexi on this play. It looked to me like he didn't quite get it out of his glove. It took him an extra step. Just there, under and across his body. This is so athletic. But you see the ball move in his glove just a little bit. It cost him an extra step, and he wasn't quite as on balance as he might have been if the ball had come out of his glove the first clutch at it that he had.
Designated hitter today, Maglio Ordonez. Swings at the first pitch and pops it up into short right field. Kadire drifts in. Kubel rather makes the catch, and there are 2 out.
And that's a big at bat right there in the first inning. Ordonez hitting .357 lifetime against Francisco Liriano, and with Cabrera and Martinez and Peralta coming up, get Ordonez to swing at the first pitch and pop it up is a big out.
Tigers have been aggressive. Only 3 hitters so far, but they've been very aggressive against Liriano. Jackson, Bosch, and Ordonez all swinging at the first pitch.
And I find that a little bit strange. When you hit a guy well, I guess they've had enough at bats. They know what he's got. You might as well go to. And their feeling must be we might as well go to swinging. We know what it is. But first time around, I always like to take a pitch and get into the speed and see what he's got. And also with Frankie, he's not around the plate all the time. In a lot of games, he'll suffer with his command a little bit. You might as well give him a chance and see if he's got command of the strike zone right from the beginning.
He's behind Cabrera. 2 balls, no strikes. Dangerous man to fall behind. And now it's 3-0. Cabrera in the top 10 in the American League in all 3 Triple Crown categories. 7th with a .315 average, 7th with 20 home runs, 10th with 64 runs batted in. See if he has the green light on this 3-0 pitch. Takes a strike, and it's 3-1.
I don't know if I would ever give him the take sign in any count at any time. I would leave it, if I'm Jim Leland, I'd leave it up to Miguel Cabrera to do what he wants. He may not want to swing all the time 3-0, but if he felt like it, if he's seeing the pitcher well, I'd be turning loose anytime he wanted.
walked him, and it's ball 4. Bosch moves to second base. He reached on an infield hit on a ball that Lexi Casilla tried to throw underhand over to first base, very similar to the play he made here Friday night.
And this is one of the most unbelievable plays and throws I've ever seen. I don't think I've ever seen an infielder throw the ball across his body underneath his front arm and throw the ball to the base, not only accurately, but get the ball there. That's just unbelievable. What a great play. He's a good little athlete.
Very important at bat in the first inning. Victor Martinez against Francisco Liriano, the Tiger catcher, hitting with 2 on and 2 out. He has had huge success against Liriano in his career. 9 hits in 19 at bats. That's a .474 average. And in the Tiger wins in the first 2 games of the series, Thursday and Friday, they were able to jump out to early leads against the Twins. They have an opportunity to do it here in the top of the first this afternoon.
This guy has been very, very instrumental in the middle of this Tiger lineup, protecting Cabrera, driving in runs. He is a better hitter left-handed. I really like what Jim Leyland can do with Cabrera, the big right-hander, hitting fourth. Martinez, who's a switch hitter, can hit left-handed against tough right-handers. It will hit left-handed against all right-handers, but against tough right-handers, against Cabrera, you got the left-hander coming up after him, and then again a right-hander in Peralta, who is left-hander as well. Again, that's good for a manager to have that kind of flexibility.
Liriano misses away. He appeared frustrated that he didn't get the call on that pitch, and it's 2 balls and 1 strike. Two on for the Tigers with 2 out. Martinez is 3 for 13 in the series. Fouled into the seats on the first base side, and the count's even.
Big pitch right here, 2-2. You don't want to go to 3-2, get the runners in motion. You also have a chance right here to stay more in a pitcher's count than in a hitter's count. 3-2 with the runners moving. The pitcher really has to come in there, not load the bases for the hot hitting Peralta. So I think this is the pitch of the inning right here to Victor Martinez. This is where you want to make something happen right now. Throw something nasty, close enough that he's got to swing at it. You got to make it happen right here.
2-2 pitch with 2 on and 2 out. Grounded right at Valencia. And the inning is over. The Tigers strand 2 in the first. Liriano escapes with no damage. The Twins coming up. Tiger runners in the top of the first. And we move on to the bottom half. Ron Gardenhire will send this Menards batting order to the plate. Revere, Casilla, and Maurer. Maurer started all 12 games on this homestand. Jason Kubel made his return Friday night. Has had good numbers against Tiger starter Rick Porcello. He's up over .311 now for the season. Valencia, Tommy, Young, and Nishioka round out the Minnesota lineup.
And the scouting report for Rick Porcello, the Tigers starter, he's got 2 fastballs, a sinker and a ball is a main fastball, and a riding fastball, much like Max Scherzer the other night. He does throw a good hard slider, and the key for him is to keep the ball down. He wants to throw the sinker most of the time. That ball has got to be down. Conversely, the Twins hitters need to get him up in the zone. He's hittable when he pitches thigh to belt high.
Ben Revere takes a strike. Porcello has had good success lately against Minnesota. He's won each of his last 3 starts against the Twins. Revere chops one right back at him. And the leadoff man is retired for Minnesota. Northland Ford defense for Detroit. Brennan Bosch, Austin Jackson, and Ryan Rayburn in the outfield. Benjamin Peralta, Santiago, and Cabrera in the infield. Rick Porcello on the mound and Victor Martinez behind the plate. Porcello in his career 4-3 with a 2.67 ERA against Minnesota, but the last 3 starts have been dominant. A 1.83 ERA, holding Twins hitters to a 181 average. 2 of those 3 wins have come this season. Beat them in May here, beat them in early June in Detroit. Alexi Casilla fouls it away, and it's no balls and 2 strikes.
I like the way Alexi Casilla has been swinging the bat lately. Much more aggressive. He's swinging the bat with authority. Whatever the opposite of trying to slap the ball is, he's had good, hard, aggressive swings, and he's got a lot of talent to hit. I like the aggressiveness, and I don't think anybody's played better second base in the last month and a half than this young man.
0-2 pitch from Porcello is up and away. 1 ball, 2 strikes.
There's the rider we talked about. He'll try to show hitters that straight fastball, what's called a 4-seamer. You grip the ball across the big seams, and it comes, it rides straight to the plate. He throws that high to change a hitter's eye angle, then comes back to the sinker.
Right back through the middle, and a base hit for Alexi Casilla. The Twins get a 1-out base runner, and Casilla again very aggressive at the plate.
Great swing, good 2-strike swing in the middle of the diamond. You'll see the ball's in the middle of the plate, and it comes right back at him. Knock the pitcher off the mound. I like it. Yeah, the ball, that sinker was high. That's where the Twins hitters need to make that ball be from Porcello, the ones they want to swing at. If the ball starts knee high, it's going to sink pretty well, and that hard sink is a tough pitch to hit. Lexi doing a good job of right there, making the ball be up in the zone, the sinker up.
Joe Mauer, the hitter, been relatively quiet in this series, 2 for 11. After a torrid start to the homestand against Kansas City and Cleveland. Still .421 in the first 11 games of this stand. But Detroit has pitched him much better than the first 2 teams into Target Field.
And interestingly, he had maybe his best swings against Justin Verlander, the clearly dominant starter on this Tiger staff.
1 ball, 1 strike. Casilla runs. Mauer swings and drives one into left field for a base hit. Casilla will reach third, and on the hit and run, Minnesota has runners on the corners.
I love this play right here by manager Ron Gardenhire. Get things started early. Joe's not going to, he gets a count. Gardy thinks he's going to get a strike. Joe's not going to miss that ball. He gets a ball out over the plate, and Joe slaps it into left field, which he does so often and so well. Casilla actually a pretty good jump. He might have been stealing. It might have been a straight steal there. He wasn't looking back at the runner. And usually on a hit and run, you'll look in and see where the ball's hit because you don't get your best jump. Alexi got a great jump. I think that was a straight steal there, and Joe has the option of taking or swinging, and it ended up like a very successful hit and run.
Now Michael Kadire, the hitter, with a chance to put Minnesota in front. Runners on the corners with 1 out. Major difference this year when Minnesota plays from in front. 21 games over 500 when they score first, 27 under when they don't. And Kadire fouls it away. The count evens at 1 ball, 1 strike.
Manager Ron Gardenhire likes to see his first 2 guys, Ben Revere and Alexi Castillo, as he says, running around out there, and he puts them in motion every chance he gets. And I think in this series, this is a big game, this final game of the series. He wants them running around.
Ground ball to short, could be 2, to second for 1. The relay's in time, and Kadire retired on a double play that ends the inning. Twins go without a run in the first.
Before the ball game, I talked with manager Ron Gardenhire and asked him his thoughts on Bert officially being inducted into baseball's Hall of Fame. And he started talking about Anthony and Roy, about how much they enjoyed the countdown here at Target Field, and was wondering how Bert's speech was going to go. Obviously, Bert did not disappoint with his speech leading off with "Are we live?" But he also added in all seriousness that it's about time that this day is here. We all know about the wait that Bert Blyleven had to endure to get into the Hall of Fame. But Gardy nodded and said, hey, it's a great day to be a member of the Twins organization, to see one of ours enter Cooperstown.
4th player who entered the Hall as a Twin, joining Harmon Killebrew, Rod Carew, and Kirby Puckett. Few others obviously spent at least parts of their career with the Twins and have moved into Cooperstown, but those the 4 who entered as a Twin.
4 great players, 4 players of which the team and the community can be very, very proud.
Johnny Peralta, Ryan Rayburn, and Wilson Betemeet for Detroit in the 2nd inning. Peralta has been the toughest out for the Twins in this series. 3 doubles, 2 home runs, 7 runs batted in, as he has gone 8 for 13 in the first 3 games. Foul down the left field line, and Liriano is ahead, no balls and 2 strikes.
So far, Frankie's got good command. He's throwing strikes. He had a couple of base runners in the 1st inning, one on an infield hit and the other on a walk. So he's got his good command. He's not falling behind guys so far. That's a good sign here early in the game.
Peralta out in front, fouls it to stay alive, and it's still no balls and 2 strikes. Heard a couple of the Twins pitchers reflecting on Bert Blyleven's career. Some of the amazing numbers, the 287 wins, 242 complete games. Peralta's down on strikes to start the Tigers' second. The 60 shutouts, and you heard Joe Nathan, Brian Dunsing both say that was the most impressive statistic, and both talked about the fact that it's hard to imagine that in today's game. To put that in perspective, the leading active pitcher is Roy Halladay with 19 shutouts.
It's crazy, the shutouts and also the complete games, 240 some complete games. I mean, complete games. That's all 9 innings, folks, or however long it took. I mean, that's just really, really exceptional.
What's the number that stands out most to you?
Of all of those all those stats that we recited, I think the 60 shutouts. I think the dominance, because the shutouts are complete games as well, obviously, and I think that to hold big league clubs to no runs 60 times in your career, go 9 innings and not allow a run 60 times. I mean, that really is incredible. And the complete games is second for me. Strikeouts, I mean, that's striking a lot of guys out, and I was a bunch of those too, and I'm impressed. But the shutouts and the complete games is just terrific.
Liriano walks Rayburn with 1 out. Here's a look at some of those very significant numbers for Hall of Famer Bert Blyleven. 3,701 strikeouts. That is 5th most in the history of the game. The 60 shutouts, 9th most. The 287 wins, which, as we mentioned in the pregame show, was oftentimes given as an argument against his election to the Hall. Yet there are only 25 pitchers in the history of the game that have topped that number.
And I'll tell you something else about Bert Blyleven and wins. There's something rattling around in my brain that explains that a little bit, I think. I mean, Bert pitched most of his career in an era where the pitching staffs were not set up from the closer forward, and there weren't the 7 and 8 inning relief specialists as much as there are today. Bert finished a lot of games. He completed a lot of games as a losing pitcher. I mean, he stayed out there.
Swing and a miss, and it's no balls and 2 strikes.
And so I really believe that when a manager looked out, that whenever a manager makes a change, brings in a relief pitcher, he's saying, okay, who have I got out there? I've got my starter, I've got the guy in there or 2 in the bullpen. Who do I want against this matchup, against this guy right here? Who's my best chance? And I believe that more often than not, that stuff that Bert had was better than the stuff that was out there in the bullpen as far as the manager was concerned, and he stayed in to lose ball games when he was tired an awful lot, because tired or not, that stuff was still better than the other options the manager has. I just think that's a and when you see only 25 guys have topped 287 wins, I think that points that gives some credence to what I'm saying.
Well, let's hear from a man who caught him for 3.5 seasons here with the Minnesota Twins. Tim Laudner is with us, field level at Target Field. A little blooper into short right field that will drop foul. But, Tim, you had a chance to see Bert Blyleven from a perspective that very few have been able to, and that is from behind the plate. And what number stands out most to you?
Well, I think we call that a bird's eye view, Anthony. I think I was right in the catbird seat, or whatever kind of cliche you want to use. But be behind the plate for Bert Blyleven was an honor, a privilege, and certainly a pleasure, because he was a competitor when he was on the mound, and to be able to throw that number 2 down and see that curveball come breaking across the plate was awfully fun. Roy, I know you know what I'm talking about.
I do know what you're talking about, because I didn't get to catch it. I just whiffed at it.
Pitch blocked by Mauer, but it rolls away far enough for Rayburn to advance on what will be a wild pitch. Charge to Liriano, a man in scoring position with 1 out for Wilson Betemit, who's still battling behind in the count at 1-2.
Well, Frankie's tried to throw a changeup there. He struck out Peralta on a great changeup down, and he just got that a little too far down. I don't mind that. Great slider.
Got him on strikes.
And there are 2 examples, 2 strikeouts this inning that come as a result of him being able to throw fastballs over. And that's the whole point when the hitter has to be in a hurry with that against that fastball, they jump out there early on the slider and swing at bad balls, and that's where he's really effective.
Well, not only do they have to be early, but when they're behind in the count, they have to be defensive. And Liriano's been ahead in the count this inning. You see that swing. Betemit missed that slider by a foot.
Well, that's what I mean by being early. When you're getting ahead of hitters with stuff like Frankie's, you're defensive, especially against that fastball, because he can throw it by you. Nobody wants to. If you get a fastball thrown by you, you have no chance. If you're out in front of something slow, you still have a chance. But if you can't catch up with the fastball, you're toast. So guys get used to jumping out there after the fastball, and that's what makes the slider more effective. If he's not throwing his fastball over, the slider's not as effective.
Twins baseball brought to you this afternoon in Sony High Definition. And I hope the high definition is capturing the absolutely perfect afternoon for baseball. Not a cloud in the sky in Minneapolis.
It is beautiful.
Down and away, 2 balls and a strike. Slight breeze blowing out toward right field, 78 degrees. The humidity down. These are the days they envisioned when they said, let's move Minnesota Twins baseball back outdoors.
You bet it is.
Rayburn at second with 2 out. Chopper to the right side. Kadire fields, but it's in foul territory. And Santiago remains alive. 2 balls and 2 strikes. Tigers took the first 2 games of the series. Thursday night and Friday night. Minnesota bounced back with a win. Scott Baker very good for them yesterday afternoon. And now they have a chance to split the series and move back within 5 games of the first place Tigers here this afternoon. 2-2 pitch. Roll to third. Backhanded by Valencia, who throws. Pulls Kadire off the bag, and the Tigers have runners on the corners with 2 out.
Pretty good pitch by Francisco Liriano. He got in on him. The fastball came in. Good pitch. Danny's got to go to his right. Fully extended. He chooses to jump up and throw. I think a nice attempt. He just couldn't get it on the bag from that body angle and position. And Santiago runs pretty well. I think he was going to have it beat. However, Danny tried to throw it over. Tough luck for Liriano. He made an out pitch there. He got the ball down below the label on Santiago. He just lucked out and hit it in a good spot.
Second infield hit of the game for the Tigers. And again, Liriano is in a 2-on 2-out situation. This time he'll face the leadoff man, Austin Jackson, who grounded to third in the first inning.
And again, it's the walks that have gotten him into these jams here in the first 2 innings. He walked Cabrera, which is understandable in the first inning. Walking Rayburn is not what he wanted to do. Make the guys swing the bat. Keep your pitch count down.
On the outside corner, 0-2.
That's a great pitch. 94 miles an hour, tailing away right on the corner. This is when you know Frankie's got his good stuff. That's a nasty pitch. With movement, 94 with movement on the corner. You can't hit that pitch. Austin Jackson strikes out a lot. These are the guys, when you get in a situation and you get a strikeout guy up there, you got to be able to punish him.
0-2 pitch. Down and in, 1 ball, 2 strikes.
Great try with a slider there. I really like sliders when in strikeout situations when you don't have to throw it for a strike. When you know that and Ron Coomer and I were talking about that, and Timmy Lauder, you'll agree with me. I know you will. Being a catcher who called a lot of them, I don't like sliders when you have to throw a strike because it's not the good one. I like it when you can throw it for a ball and get the hitter to swing over the top of it.
See if he comes back to it here on the 1-2 pitch. Fastball away, 2 balls, 2 strikes.
He had him set up for that pitch on the outside corner again after going in with a slider. He just missed it. He's out right there. If he throws it on the corner, Jackson's out. No way he was going to hit that pitch. Again, we're in a 2-2 situation. This is the pitch. You've got to make something happen.
2 balls, 2 strikes, 2 out. Bounced it. It skips away from Mauer, and the Tigers have the lead. Second wild pitch of the inning. These are painful runs to allow.
Well, he's trying. He's trying to throw a change up there, and I just hung on to it too long, or a little slider, trying to throw it down where he wants to be. Just too much. Just got over the top of it, held on too long.
3-2 pitch. Walked him. 3 walks and 2 wild pitches already issued by Francisco Liriano, and the Tigers have 2 men on and 2 out for Brennan Bosch. Rick Anderson will join this conversation on the mound. This is a quick trip to the mound for Rick Anderson. Joe Mauer retreats and will rejoin the discussion.
And this is where it's really frustrating for Rick Anderson, the pitching coach and manager Ron Gardenhire. Frankie's got really good stuff today. He really does. He's throwing the ball hard. His fastball's got movement. He's got that hard biting slider. He's throwing some good changeups. And he'll just get in streaks where he just loses command. And you see the walks to get 2 guys on. You see the wild pitches just kind of out of nowhere. He'll be throwing strikes, and then all of a sudden just kind of lose it. And you look at that great stuff and you say, man, if he can ever bottle that up and have command of his primarily his fastball. We saw him throw a great one on the corner to Austin Jackson, and then have him set up for that 1 and 2, not be able to throw it for a strike. Try to.
Bosch swings and misses. He had an infield hit in the first inning. The only 2 hits for the Tigers, infield hits. Bosch in the first and Santiago here in the second. Check swing, and Liriano's ahead 0-2. Brennan Bosch, the only left-handed hitter in the lineup today for the Tigers, and you can see that his numbers are better against left-handed pitching.
A big turnaround from what he did last year. He looked like he was struggling against left-handers, but he's really making himself into a good major league hitter. Tough duty against Liriano today. He sat against Jim Leland, sat him against Brian Dunsing the other night, and he's playing today against Francisco Liriano. So if you're going to see a left-hander, I think if I'm Brennan Bosch, I'm thinking, well, I might rather see Dunsing stuff than this guy. This guy can be nasty, but he has been. I think he's pretty good against him, Anthony. I think I saw 3 for 7 or something lifetime.
4 out of 8 after the infield hit in the first inning tonight.
Right.
And again, Liriano, after getting ahead 0-2, now finds himself in a 2-2 situation.
And again, the 1-2 pitch, he had him struck out. If he could just get the ball on the corner, it was just off. It's a good try. You can see him trying to go out there outside on the outside corner. He's not missing back over the plate. He's missing away, but just not quite getting the strike.
In the air to left, Delman Young coming on. He's there and makes the catch. And the inning is over. The Tigers strand 2, but score 1 on a wild pitch. And after an inning and a half, lead 1-0.
is brought to you by Explore Minnesota. Visit exploreminnesota.com to plan your next Minnesota vacation today.
You are looking at the Gunflint Trail in the Boundary Waters canoe area. Beautiful part of the state.
I've never been up there. In all the years I've been in Minnesota, now close to 30 years, I've never gone up and traveled the Gunflint Trail. I've always wanted to.
You should. You don't strike me as a guy who would spend a lot of nights in a tent.
I'd spend some nights in a tent. I would not get my wife to do that with me.
It's a absolutely beautiful part of the state. If you are, even if you're not a big outdoorsman, it's worth going to see it. And there's so many. I mean, you could go up there, and I haven't spent a tremendous amount of time there, but I've been in the area a couple of different times, and you could go up there every summer for a long time and not feel like you were seeing the same thing over and over again.
Yeah, I've heard that. Just the beauty of it and the expansive beauty of it. I think every one of us should do that. And I'm remiss in not having gotten there.
Jason Kubel, Danny Valencia, Jim Thome to hit for Minnesota in the second inning. Kubel battling right now at 2 balls and 2 strikes.
And it's the left-handers. I was just going to say, Anthony, about Jason Kubel, at 2-2 count here. It's really the left-handers that have the best chance against Porcello historically. I think left-handers hitting very, very much better than right-handers. Left-handers hitting .335, I think, against Porcello. Right-handers only .229. So the right-handers have tough duty. Left-handers need to be the guys that get on base, start driving in some runs.
Kubel fouls it back.
We saw it play out in the first inning with Alexi Casilla hitting left-handed, and of course Joe Mauer with a couple of base hits, and then Michael Kadire hitting into a double play on a tough sinker. That's hard in sync and slider away to right-handers is a tough combination.
Now 3-2. The numbers you mentioned, .335 for left-handed hitters, right-handers just .229, and that has held true throughout his career, not just this season. Lefties in his 3-year big league career hitting .302 against him, although Kubel goes down on strikes to start the second. After the game on Fox Sports North, join Tom Brokaw for Boys in the Hall. Personal stories of some of baseball's greatest legends. This week, it's Brooks Robinson. Boys in the Hall after the game, presented by Subway Restaurants, where winners eat. Danny Valencia hit a home run for Minnesota in yesterday's win, the only home run the Twins have hit in the series. One ball, one strike.
Hard to imagine where the Twins would be without some of the huge run, without any of the huge runs Danny Valencia has driven in. Lined the ball to shortstop Johnny Peralta there for the second out. But Danny's average is not very high this year so far, but he has driven in some gigantic runs and hit some home runs. I think it's another year in the development of a young major league hitter this year. I think hopefully he will learn how to be able to do both. Pick his spots to try to drive the ball and then get back into right center field like he was the first part of his first year, so that his average gets up there where I think it can be.
Still leads the Twins with his 53 runs batted in, and as you mentioned, so many of those have come at key points in games. Had the game winner in the dramatic 2-1 win against Cleveland earlier on this homestand. A 2-run single to left in the bottom of the ninth against Cleveland's all-star closer Chris Perez. Might have been a season saver at that point for Minnesota. They were 7 games behind, 2 outs away from falling 8 back. Valencia's base hit got them right back in it.
Yes, sir. And then he came right back and delivered the go-ahead, and turned out to be game-winning RBI the next night as well.
Tomey lines one down the right field line, in for a hit. Big Jim takes the turn. He'll try for 2. The throw is not in time, and Tomey has a 2-out double.
Good for Big Jim. That's the first time I have seen him in a speed other than home run trot on just about any ball he's hit. Great swing. Keeps that ball, that inside fastball, fair down the right field line by bringing his hands in. What a good swing. Now right here as he rounds, he knows he has a chance, and he sees, I've got to hustle. I'm looking for that extra gear. And you ought to try to hit the base with your front foot instead of your back knee. That would be helpful on a close play. Luckily that ball bounced away from shortstop Johnny Peralta, but Big Jim doesn't have to slide too much. He does a whole lot of trotting, which is exactly what the Twins would like to see him do.
Delman Young now the hitter, and I'm not sure there's a whole lot of difference between the home run trot and the leg out the double trot.
Well, that's exactly what I was saying. He seems to be in home run trot just about every time he's moving around the bases. I did think I saw just a little bit of extra gear there, right around first base when he knew it was going to be a close play.
Tomey at second with 2 out. Delman Young takes inside, 1 ball, 1 strike. Let's watch this. This is in real speed,
as it were. And here he is, seeing where the ball is. He thinks he's got, I think right there, I think it was just a little bit of effort right there. A little bit of effort to get into that second gear. Second and only other.
Little looper towards second base. Santiago is there. Delman Young is retired, and the Twins leave a man in scoring position. 1-0 Detroit. Miller High Life. This summer, find out how giving back bottle caps can give returning vets a piece of the High Life. Go to MillerHighLife.com for details. Tigers leading the Twins 1-0 as we move into the 3rd inning. Ordonez, Cabrera, and Martinez for Detroit against Minnesota left-hander Francisco Liriano, who has allowed just a pair of infield hits in the first 2 innings, but has worked his way into trouble with 3 walks and 2 wild pitches and falls behind Ordonez 2 balls and no strikes. He's already thrown 49 pitches in the game, and now he's behind 3-0.
Well, more of the same for Francisco Liriano. Good stuff. Not able to throw the ball consistently over the plate. And
4-pitch walk to Ordonez. Tim Laudner, you've been watching Francisco Liriano's mechanics here through the first couple of innings. How does it compare to what you've seen this season?
Well, here you can see Francisco Liriano. When his shoulders stay square to the plate and he's driving towards the plate, he's pretty doggone good, and he's pitching. When his front shoulder comes flying out of there, and you can see he has to over-rotate on a slider right there, and it's a wild pitch, he's just throwing the ball. And there was about 3 pitches right there to Maglio Ordonez where you can see where he's just throwing the ball. He's not pitching. He's not staying square to the plate and pitching like a 27-year-old with 100+ starts is capable of pitching.
Well, you're right, Timmy. He's battled his mechanics, as we know, pretty much his whole career. He has such great stuff, and when that shoulder stays in there, he's around the plate and nasty. And when it flies open, the stuff is still nasty, but it's just not over the plate. He has no command with it. You can't give good hitters 2-0 and 3-1 counts. You can't be walking guys against good lineups like this, against anybody in the big leagues.
You said it before, Roy. He's got too good of stuff, and I think that it's imperative that any catcher that's catching him, you've got to keep these pitchers on task, pitch after pitch after pitch, and you've got to remind them pitch after pitch to stay closed, to stay short with your stride, to keep your elbow up, to stay right in there with them, and you have to remind them pitch after pitch after pitch because they're such creatures of habit.
2 balls, 2 strikes, the count here to Miguel Cabrera. Tim, you have a great view when you're the catcher, when you're behind the plate. But what's the challenge for a pitcher to try and make an adjustment in the middle of the game as Liriano again misses and it's 3-2?
I just think that, if it takes a trip, you got to make a trip. You got to go out, settle him down. Francisco Liriano talks about being excited, and that's why he flies open. Well, I hope he's excited on the mound. I hope he's excited every time he pitches. But that doesn't preclude him from having good fundamentals when he goes to the mound. He's got too much experience to let himself keep flying open like that. And from a catching standpoint, that catcher has to remind him pitch after pitch after pitch to stay right in there, to keep that shoulder closed. There's a good pitch right there where he does a pretty good job of staying close. But when he gets a couple of base runners, sometimes he gets into that stretch position. He sometimes tries to overthrow. That front shoulder comes flying out. His front foot is crossing the perpendicular line. His stride is too long and his arm starts to drag. Then his pitches are all over the place. If he can stay short, stay square, he's a doggone good pitcher with good stuff.
Ordonez running, and Mauer's throw is off the mark. Cabrera doesn't strike out very often, and Jim Leyland put Ordonez in motion. He didn't get a great jump, but Mauer's throw was to the shortstop side of second base.
It looked like Joe double clutched just a little bit. He had made a nice pick out of the dirt there, and Liriano just threw too nasty a pitch down there. It was surprising that Cabrera swung at, but again, that's the respect for the fastball and swinging at that nasty slider that looks like a fastball and then breaks down and in that got Cabrera. Tigers manager Jim Leyland gambling that Cabrera not going to swing and miss a 3-2 pitch, and starting Ordonez, who doesn't run as well as he used to when he was a younger kid, and they got away with one there just because of the ball in the dirt.
First stolen base of the season, as you saw, for Ordonez. He stole only 1 last year. In fact, if you go all the way back to 2004, so in the last 8 seasons, he has a total of 10 stolen bases.
So when he runs, again, it's going to be 3-2 with Cabrera up there when Leyland thinks there's no way that Miguel's going to swing and miss this ball. Again, Frankie's got the kind of stuff that can make you swing and miss.
He's ahead of Victor Martinez. No balls and 2 strikes. This at bat becomes huge because if he can get Martinez, he can be careful with the on deck hitter Peralta with first base open.
Yeah, great point. This is the guy you want. Much better hitter against left-handers on deck than is in the batter's box right now. And you can really pitch this guy tough, make him get himself out, and then you can toy with Peralta, the next hitter, if you have to.
Check swing, and the pitch is low. 1 ball, 2 strikes.
Timmy Lauder makes such a good point about Francisco Liriano's mechanics, and especially that front shoulder and long stride. Pitching coach Rick Anderson has been working with Liriano for his whole career here in Minnesota, trying to get him to trust how good his stuff is without trying to get extra behind it, without trying to fly open, trying to throw the ball too hard. And I really believe that that is the main reason. You know, Timmy talked about him getting excited out there and flying open, but he tries to throw 97 instead of 94, and he doesn't have to. 94 is good enough. If you're throwing 93, 94 consistently for strikes with that slider, with your fastball, with that slider that he has, you just don't, Timmy, you don't need to throw 98.
No, you sure don't, Roy. You don't have to throw 98 because of that devastating slider and because of that devastating changeup.
Right.
But he still has to remember that his best pitch, and 99.9% of the guys that come to the big leagues, their best pitch is still the fastball. And once you get that fastball established, now you can go to work. Now you're pitching.
That's why I said in the scouting report on Liriano that the first point was command the fastball, and the second point was seed number 1.
In the air down the right field line. Kubel over for a look, but it's in the seats.
But you're right, as a catcher, Timmy, you know what that you sit behind hitters and you see them start to speed up, and you see the anxiety set in when a guy's throwing 93, 94, strike, 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 and you throw it in there under their hands, and then you call for that slider, and they start swinging when it's halfway to the plate, not having recognized it. You see that.
Oh, all the time. And the flip side of that is when he starts off an inning, and the first thing that you want to do is remind him, hey, let's go get this first guy. Let's get an out right off the board. And the 4 pitches that he threw, Maglio Ordonez, weren't even close. That's the time that you have to go out there and make sure that you talk to him and make sure that he's under control so that he doesn't walk the first hitter.
Another infield hit for Detroit as Victor Martinez rolls one about 46 feet up the third base line. Valencia had no chance to make a play.
And I will say that Frankie has not pitched with the best of luck so far in these 2 innings plus. This ball perfectly placed. No play for Danny. Good that he just stuck in his back pocket. Make sure you don't do anything crazy on a ball that you're not going to get an out on anyway.
Tigers on the corners with 1 out here in the third. Peralta went down on strikes his first time up. He's 0 for 1. Takes a fastball high. And the two of you talking about the fact that Liriano's best pitch and most important pitch is the fastball. You might even simplify it further by saying his best pitch is strike 1. When Liriano is able to work ahead in the count, he's been so much more effective throughout the season. Peralta slices one away. The opposing batting averages are about the same, and frankly, they're not very good. Liriano holds opposing hitters down under a 220 average. But there's such a difference in his strikeout to walk ratio. When he starts a hitter with a strike, his strikeout to walk ratio is 3-1. When he starts him with ball 1, it's even. 36 strikeouts, 33 walks.
Well, that is really illustrative and is exactly right. He gets in trouble when he's ball 1 and then ultimately either 3-1 double or ball 4. I mean, that's exactly the case, because you're letting the hitter, he's got such good stuff. If you let hitters get to 2-0 and 3-1 against your stuff there, and you have to come in with a fastball that they're sitting on, big league hitters are going to hit that. If there's uncertainty in their mind because you've gone strike 1 and you don't know what you're going to get the rest of the time up, he's off. That stuff's just too good.
Broken bat looper into short center field, and more bad luck for Liriano. A run will score. It's 2-0 Tigers. This is the only hit they've had to the outfield, and it cost Peralta a bat, but gives him a run batted in.
This is another example of really, really good stuff and bad luck. That fastball had a lot of life, ran in on a guy that's been swinging the bat great, not missing a whole lot of fastballs, but he buried it in his kitchen there, just had enough strength to muscle it into the outfield. Again, unlucky for Francisco Liriano, but started with the base on balls. That's the problem with the base on balls, even with guys with great stuff, is that big league hitters are going to figure out a way to get some hits at every once in a while, even cheap ones. You can't give them an extra 90 feet.
And remember, they had a shot at Ordonez at second base, but the third strike pitch to Miguel Cabrera was in the dirt, and by the time Mauer had picked it, he could not retire the runner stealing second base. You can see that he has started 11 of 16 hitters with strike one. But when he has failed to do so, the Tigers have reached base almost every time.
Right. And especially the walks just really, really hurt, because guys are going to get hits. But to string together to make every guy in an inning get a hit in order to score a run, the odds are really get in your favor. If you give them extra bases without having to hit their way on, it makes it so much easier, obviously.
Well, you look at the runs he's allowed so far today. Number one, each of them scored by a man who walked.
Right.
In the second inning, he had bad luck. The Santiago infield hit, but it was a walk and a wild pitch prior to that, and then another wild pitch that scored the run. This inning, a walk and a steal, then an infield hit put runners on the corners, and a broken bat single scored a run. After being behind 3-0, he delivers a strike to Rayburn, 3-1. You saw Anthony Swarzak throwing in the Minnesota bullpen. Liriano's pitch count is growing rapidly, already 75 pitches in the game. Base hit, and the first sharply hit ball for the Tigers in this game will load the bases with one out for Wilson Bettamy. When the Twins return home, there will be many of the heroes from the 1991 World Championship team on hand. The 20th anniversary weekend presented by Mauer Chevrolet. On Friday night, the first 10,000 fans will get a Kent Herbeck Ron Gant bobblehead depicting the memorable play from Game 2 of that series. Come out early to see a special pregame ceremony featuring members of the 91 squad. Call 833-TWINS or visit twinsbaseball.com to check on ticket availability.
Herbie promises that he did not pull him off the base.
Might be a good post-game instructional. We could have Roy Smalley be Ron Gant. We could have Tim Laudner be Kent Herbeck.
Well, you're just typecasting now.
There are just, when you're setting a script, sometimes there are characters for which you're not a viable candidate.
Well, but I think in this case the two of us are. I mean, in both instances. I'm certainly not going to pull Lauds off first base.
Well,
I guarantee
I was just trying to help you out. I don't want to see it hurt your back.
Right.
I think Laud's knees are healthy enough where
I'd rather, if we're gonna recreate something, I'd rather pretend I was Gary Gaetti and have Lauds recreate that pickoff down to third.
We did that last year.
Did you? I remember seeing that.
We had Gary Gaetti on hand.
Oh, sure. We
had Tim Laudner. Ken Herbeck was here.
Yep.
Should be an exciting weekend. It's coming up when the Twins return home from a 10-game trip that'll take them to Texas, Oakland, and Anaheim.
Okay, so Frankie's back in the zone now. He's got a chance to get a double play here, get out of this inning with minimal damage. And here, this is why it's frustrating for Frankie himself and Rick Anderson and Ron Gardner, because all of a sudden now he's right back in the zone, throwing strikes to Bettamy when it looked like he was losing it. Now he's got it back, and when he's got it back, he's nasty.
Do you change now from double play mode to strikeout mode now that it's 0-2?
Well, absolutely you do. You got that slider in your back pocket, 0-2, and you can throw 2 of them down and in there and give it a shot.
Comes with a fastball up and in instead and misses. 1 ball, 2 strikes.
He might be just a little bit leery because of the wild pitch on the slider with runner on third last time, but you got to be able to go back to it. That's your strikeout pitch, and trust that Joe's going to block most of them. He can strike him out here with a slider down and in.
Instead, he misses with a fastball away. Ahead 0-2. He goes with back-to-back fastballs and misses with both. This has got to be your last chance to throw the slider on 2-2.
Yep, and it looks like he doesn't want to. I mean, I think if you're going to throw it, he may throw it here 2-2, and if he throws it, if he makes a good pitch, he'll strike. I really believe he'll strike him out, but he may not want to throw it.
Into right field, a base hit came with another fastball. Kubel comes up throwing, and only 1 run will score. It's now 3-0 Detroit. 4th consecutive hit for the Tigers, and Ron Gardenhire will go to his bullpen before the number 9 hitter Ramon Santiago comes to the plate.
Wasn't a bad pitch, but he saw a bunch of fastballs in a row, and sooner or later a big league hitter is going to recognize that that's what he's getting.
3-0 Tigers, and the bases still loaded in the 3rd. Not happy with himself as he comes out of the game after just 2 1/3 innings.
I feel for Frankie. I know he's frustrated. This is a game that he wanted to pitch very well, and I think one of the main reasons for his frustration is that what good stuff he had. He knows he had good stuff today, and he just was not able to throw it over the plate enough time.
Walked 4, struck out 3, allowed 6 hits, and threw 2 wild pitches in 2 1/3 innings. Anthony Swarzak on for Minnesota. He threw an inning in yesterday's win. Prior to that, he had made back-to-back quality starts. 6 innings at Chicago, 6 innings here against Cleveland. Valuable swingman for Ron Gardenhire. He's shown the ability to start for Minnesota, but also to pitch effectively out of the bullpen. He comes into a very tight spot here with the bases loaded and 1 out. To second, and off the glove of Casilla, another run will score. And rather than an inning-ending double play ball, the error by Casilla makes it 4-0 Detroit.
One hopper here. This is a ball that Lexi feels like he's going to just suck up 99 times out of 100. That was when he felt a little better about himself getting a base hit. But that's a play Lexi knows he needs to make and should make.
To third, Valencia will come to the plate, and that's all they'll get. Are you surprised Valencia did not step on third and try to get the double play to end the inning?
Yeah, the only thing that I'm thinking is that maybe with Austin Jackson running, he was aware of the speed. When he had to go to his right a little bit, I thought he might take the 2 extra steps and try to get a double play, but those 2 extra steps that he's going that way, Austin Jackson's taking 2 or 3, and he can really run. So I think a good play by Danny there.
And when you're in a spot where you've already allowed 3 runs, you can't afford to take the chance and allow the deficit to grow.
Yeah, if you don't get the double play there, it's not a good play. So I think there probably wasn't a good gamble there.
Brennan Bosch, the 9th Tiger to bat in the Detroit half of the 3rd inning. 3 in for the Tigers, and they lead 4-0. In the air to left field, Delman Young. Looks like he's fighting the sun, can't find it, and it lands in foul territory.
Left field's a tough sun field in Target Field at this time of day. The ball looked like it got in the sun right away, and Delman could never find it after it went in there. Yeah, he's going to be looking right at the sun here. I think what happens when he looked down to look at the stands, he looked back up and couldn't find it.
Bosch stays alive. We'll try and make Delman and the Twins pay. Here's the 1-1 from Swarzak. 1 ball, 2 strikes.
We talked about what a beautiful day it is. There's not a cloud in the sky. That's what ball players call a high sky, when there's no frame of reference up there of any clouds to give you a little depth perception about where the ball is. And you know, a sun field and a high sky is a tough. That can be tough duty.
One ball, 2 strikes with 2 out. Bases loaded. Just missed. 2-2.
Good pitch by Swarzak. Come in on. Just missed. I don't know how you take that. Sometimes, as I've said before, sometimes you take a pitch because you can't hit it. He was set up for that pitch in there. He had seen some fastballs out over the plate. Terrific pitch by Anthony Swarzak right there. Just missed. Could have been called strike 3. In a situation like that, I think you should be out for not swinging when it's that close.
2 balls, 2 strikes, 2 out. Bases loaded for Detroit. Skied into short center. Revere coming in. Has it. And the inning is over. But the Tigers score 3. And at the end of 2.5, it's 4-0 Detroit. cushion. The Tigers score 3 in the third, chase Francisco Liriano from the mound, and lead 4-0 as the Twins come to the plate. In the bottom of the third, Nishioka, Revere, and Casilla to bat. And Porcello starts Nishioka with strike one.
That's the pitch right there that these Twins hitters, especially the left-handers, need to be jumping on. When you get Porcello in the middle of the plate, you got to be centering that pitch, especially down 4 runs. You got to start making a run at him.
Nishioka out on strikes to start the third. You can submit a question or comment to us online at carsoup.com/baseball. Today's question comes from Steve Johnson in Worthington. Do you think that Joe Nathan is back to 100%? And you can see the numbers prior to his disabled list stint and since.
Yeah, I think that the walks there, that 0 walks versus 9 would give an indication that he's back to close to 100%, close to 100%. And I don't really know if he's 100%, but that ball has a lot of life through the zone. It's different now. You look at the no walk since he's come back. That's one of the reasons why his ERA is so different. But it's more than that. His stuff his fastball is back to 92 to 94, and with late life that he's always had. He's never thrown a whole lot more than 95, but he's had late life through the zone. The ball just keeps jumping on the hitters, and that's what I didn't see early on. He went to a lot of breaking balls. You could tell he wasn't real confident in his fastball, and since he's come back, that confidence in the fastball is back.
When Nathan has been healthy and pitching for Minnesota, there haven't been many who have been close to his efficiency as a closer. Over his career, only Mariano Rivera has posted numbers that can rival his in terms of opposing batting average, saves, save percentage, as Revere draws a 1-out walk. Follow the Twins with MLB.com at bat 11 for your iPhone, iPad, Android, or BlackBerry. Get all the scores, stats, highlights, live audio, and more. Text at bat to 31826 or visit twinsbaseball.com for details. Revere runs on the first pitch and has it stolen easily. I was just going to ask you if you thought it was too early in the game for Ron Gardenhire to put away some of the aggressiveness that we thought we might see against Porcello and Martinez today. Obviously, the answer in Gardy's mind is no.
Yeah, it would have been easy for me to answer that question now after the fact, but I was going to say I think they will run because Porcello is slow to the plate. They know when he picks his leg up, they have him timed out. I was talking to Jerry White the other day on the bench. They'll have the stopwatch on him if it's over 1.3 seconds from the time he picks his leg up to the time the catcher receives the ball. The fast guys will be running. They can't get him at that delivery speed. And so the only question would be if he slide steps. And so what they'll tell the runners is, look, if he slide steps, don't go. But if you see his knee bend and he starts to pick his leg up, take off, because they can't get you. There's not enough time. It takes too long to get to the plate.
And obviously catcher's arm strength is a part of the equation as well, but there seems to be less variance in the catcher's ability to throw, and the times down to second for catchers, they all are in that 2-second, slightly over 2-second range, where you'll see most teams determine whether or not they can run based on who's on the mound rather than who's behind the plate.
Almost exclusively. It really is about, from the time that I first see his move where I can take off as a runner, when does the catcher catch the ball, and how many second and fraction of a second, and like a fraction of a second. Like I said, 1.3 or above and you're running. The fast guys are running because catcher just can't make up that time. And Victor Martinez is certainly not going to make up the time. But you're right, it's almost always what's the pitcher's time to the plate. Daylight play right there put on by the shortstop Johnny Peralta. But Revere back in time and Porcello steps off. That's important for a pitcher to do. If you're not going to throw it, step off and let's reset.
To second, easy play for Santiago. Casilla retired. Revere reaches third, but now 2 out. Our Sanford Health injury report: former Twin Johan Santana has missed all season after shoulder surgery, but threw 40-plus pitches and has been cleared to start a rehab assignment.
That's great news. They need guys like Johan Santana back in the game. I mean, in the game. He is not past his prime yet. Hopefully his arm problems will be behind him and he can get back to the kind of pitcher we knew so well.
Hasn't pitched since September of last season.
You hate to see anybody go out due to injury, but you really don't want to see your stars of the game, the guys that really, really create the headlines and the memorable moments on the field. Wow. Pretty good looking slider right there. I guess it was just off the plate. Joe's got a terrific eye. He gets an awful lot of calls from the umpires because of his reputation to have a good eye, but that was a pretty good pitch.
That was not, and it's 2 balls and 1 strike.
Porcello really struggling just a little bit. A 4-run lead. You got to be able to come in and punish hitters with strikes. And he really has not pitched this inning the way that I thought he would. He does have the 2 outs, but he's not been very efficient with his pitches.
Here's the 2-1 pitch. Fouled away. 2 balls, 2 strikes. With Roy Smalley, I'm Anthony LaPanta. Tim Laudner is with us here at Target Field as well, filling in for Dick Bramer and Bert Blyleven, who are in Cooperstown. Bert inducted into the Hall of Fame earlier this afternoon. 2 balls, 2 strikes, 2 out. Revere at third base, and Maurer takes low. 3 balls, 2 strikes.
A lot of times with first base open, a pitcher and catcher will think that they can and try to pitch a hitter real tough and let him get himself out. Throw him real tough pitches on the corners. Joe just doesn't offer those.
In the air to center. Fairly well hit, but in the park. Jackson has it. The side is out. Minnesota leaves another man in scoring position. It's still 4-0. who had a double earlier in the game for the Twins, the leading vote getter at 23%. We'll have the results in the postgame show. Kevin Gorg and Tim Laudner doing the tabulating right now. Anthony Swarzak on in relief of Francisco Liriano. Faces Maglio Ordonez, Miguel Cabrera, and Victor Martinez in the Detroit fourth, with the Tigers already in front 4-0. Yes, he did go, and it's no balls and 2 strikes.
Anthony Swarzak actually came into a tough situation, pitched quite well. I had a get out of the inning ground ball double play not made by Lexi Casilla. Could have been out of that inning. Came right back with another ground ball for an out. Tough situation, and the long men here this role is very, very important because you have to eat up innings and try to keep your team close. That ball hit off of Swarzak.
Casilla able to backhand.
Yep.
Leadoff man is retired for the Tigers here in the fourth.
Good ball hit hard back up the middle. Gets Swarzak in the backside. Casilla able to backhand, set, and throw. Again, Ordonez doesn't run real well. The ball hit hard. Pretty easy play once he got there. But again, this is a very, very important role, and I think a little bit undersung, underappreciated by many people. Certainly not by the manager or the pitching coach. If Anthony Swarzak can hold the Tigers right here to this 4-run lead, not let them get any more, eat up a bunch of innings, it's really vital.
Fouled away. And when the Twins activated Scott Baker, they, rather than replacing a pitcher on the roster, they used him to replace a hitter and optioned Luke Hughes back to Rochester. And I think it was done more to protect themselves in case Scott Baker had a short start. But the reality is, without many off days on the schedule, it could happen anywhere along the way, and this is why you have that extra pitcher, so that a 2 1/3 inning start doesn't cripple your staff for the next 4 or 5 days.
Really true, and they knew Scott Baker, he was on a pitch count right around 80 pitches. They knew he was likely not to go 7 innings, so they had to have the extra pitcher. Boy, Anthony Swarzak, 2 really good sliders. 0-2 and 1-2 there. I thought the 0-2 pitch might have been a strike. He's made some real quality pitches. Hitter like Miguel Cabrera. It takes a hitter like Miguel Cabrera to lay off, especially that 0-2 slider. That was nasty.
Low, and now it's 3-2.
Cabrera saw that changeup pretty well. He's a little bit more relaxed, it looks like, this time at bat against Swarzak than he was against Liriano. He looks like he's seen the ball pretty well.
Fouled off of his foot.
Ball in on him that he gets over the top of. Hits down off his instep there, looked like.
One out, nobody on. Cabrera walking a strikeout against Liriano. Now he faces Swarzak, and here's the 3-2. Got it.
Great pitch. This was a slider that Cabrera was able to lay off of 0-2 and 1-2, but not 3-2. Really expecting a fastball, and that's just perfect position for a slider. Just and great angle, not just sideways, but sideways and down. What a good pitch.
So now 2 out and the base is empty. Victor Martinez, the batter. Over but low, and it's 1 ball, no strikes. Martinez had an infield hit and scored a run during the Tiger 3-run third. They batted around in the inning. Scored 3. Had the help of a walk and an error. Contributed 4 consecutive hits themselves. Here's the 1-1. 2 balls and a strike.
I like the way Anthony Swarzak is pitching right now. It looks like he's throwing the ball where he wants to. Tried to come in with that fastball there, which I think is a great pitch, especially a good left-hand hitter. Come in off the plate. If you get it right on the corner, great. If you're off the plate, it still impresses the hitter with your stuff. 93 inside, you have to pay attention to. Right in there. That's really good pitching. Now 2-2 after coming in there hard twice. He can throw just about anything. He can come back inside. He can throw the slider underneath the zone. He can throw a changeup down and away. The hitter's got some real uncertainty right now, and if he makes a good pitch, he can get it right here.
Here's the 2-2 pitch. Fouled back. Came with a fastball away. Now what's next?
Well, I think he's in the same position because he's still impressing with the fastball. He had 92 in under his hands, 93 there, kind of up in the zone. I still think he can throw slider underneath his bat or change up away and get him. But, you know, it's just another example of what good hitters these guys are. They're able to foul off tough pitches and try to get to a pitch they can handle. And for the most part, they take balls that are outside the zone. They're going to make you give them something that they want to hit most of the time. It puts a lot of stress on a pitcher. It's difficult. You can't throw it where you want to all the time, and it just puts a lot of stress on pitchers.
That's why they have 3 of the top 8 hitters in the American League. This is one of them, Victor Martinez. 3-2 pitch, high in the air, right center field. Kubel and Revere converge. It'll be Revere and a 1-2-3 4th inning for Swarzak. Tigers still lead 4-0.
North is brought to you by Grand Casino. The best stories start here. And by AT&T.
4-0 in favor of the Tigers as the Twins come to the plate for the bottom of the 4th inning. It'll be Kadire, Kubel, and Valencia for Minnesota. Twins have had chances against Rick Porcello, runners in scoring position in each of the first 3 innings. First inning threat ended when Kadire grounded into a double play with runners on the corners and 1 out. They left Tomey at second in the second, left Revere at third in the third. And now Porcello is behind Kadire, 3 balls and no strikes.
Yeah, the 2 big at bats for Porcello so far in the game, getting Kadire to ground into double play in the first inning. When you want to get a good pitcher early if you can. That was a big at bat for him.
Time for our AT&T trivia question. We made a valiant effort on Friday night and got half right. Oh, I know this one. Who has the most career strikeouts against Bert Blyleven?
Well, I know it's not me, only because I didn't face him enough. It might have been me if he'd have stayed in the same league.
And if you weren't teammates for a while.
And if we weren't teammates for a while.
One ball, one strike. Kubel struck out his first time up. Down and away, 2 balls and 1 strike. For Roy, 5 for 21 against Bert.
You know, it's funny. I don't remember the strikeouts. I don't remember the hits except for the home run.
You remember the home run?
I remember the home run. I hit off in Texas.
Well, that's nothing special. He gave up a lot of those.
Yeah, I know. But that was real early in my career, so it was a big deal to me.
We talked earlier with Tim Laudner, who caught Bert for 3.5 seasons with the Minnesota Twins. He, of course, also had some at-bats against Bert. Tim, you out-hit my partner here against Mr. Blyleven. 4 out of 13 for a 3.08 average.
Well, one pitcher in the league would be probably appropriate. What do you think, Roy?
Well, yeah, I think more power to you, buddy. Of course, the sample size isn't nearly big enough.
No.
You hit a home run against him too, huh?
Yeah, I hit a home run against Bert, and I think it was in the 1989 season. I know it was after he had gone out to Anaheim. Pretty sure it's 1989, but he threw me a slider out over the plate. Looked like it stopped.
Slider.
On the outside corner. I hit it over the right field fence. As I'm circling the bases, I thought to myself, where did he come up with that pitch? Because I don't ever remember calling that one for him.
He made that up on the spot just for you.
Kubel's out on strikes. Danny Valencia is the hitter with 1 on and 1 out. Twins trying to figure out a way to get the offense going against Rick Porcello. They've had runners on and have not been able to push one across. Valencia jerks one well foul, hit it a long way down the left field line, but well foul. Our window concepts, window of opportunity. If there's a guy who would figure to be the man to break the seal, it might be Valencia, who's had a big week. The game-winning hit against Cleveland here on Tuesday. The next day followed it with another key go-ahead hit. Home run in yesterday's win over Detroit. And this is a fair ball down the left field line. Kadire into third, Valencia to second with a double, and the Twins once again have something going here in the fourth.
And Danny's week continues. Good swing here, fighting off a ball inside, getting the bat head out, sneaking between the third base bag and Wilson Betamete. A little sinker there coming back into him, and he throws the big end out on it. Good swing. Ball just fair. Went over it now, and Betamete just misses. People might wonder, why is that ball fair? It looked like it bounced in foul territory. Don't know if it could hit the line or not. It was close, but if it goes over the bag If it bounces in fair territory and goes over the bag, then it doesn't matter where the next bounce is. That's a fair ball.
If it's hit the ground before it reaches third base. If it's in the air.
That's what I said. If it bounces in fair territory and then goes over the bag. Yes, you're right. It has to hit the ground first in fair territory.
Now Jim Thome hits. Big opportunity for Minnesota. Thome doubled in his first at bat. 2 in scoring position and 1 out.
We're seeing one of the results of the later ball game, a 3 o'clock start. The shadow has now crept over home plate. The hitter's in shadow, pitcher in sunlight. It starts getting tough to see the ball in this situation.
To short. It'll get a run home. Padier scores. 25th run batted in of the year for Jim Thome. Valencia moves to third base. Now 2 out for Delman Young. Guess we technically have to call that a ground ball to third.
Yeah, we do. The third baseman played it.
Delman Young popped to second his first time up. And the first pitch is in the dirt, ball 1.
Well, I mentioned the 2 big at bats before for Porcello positively. That the ground ball in the first inning, double play by Michael Padier, and getting Joe Mauer with Ben Rivera on third on a deep fly ball to left center. Those could have started to turn into bigger innings. Now the Twins have something going again here. 1 run in, runner on third. It's another big at bat in the ball game for the Twins and for Porcello. See if Delman can get this run in. This is actually a pretty big run here in the 4th inning. Could just cut the lead to 2.
Swing and a miss. He got Delman in a similar spot in the second with Thome at second base and 2 out. On a pop-up to second base. Porcello's been able to get, as you mentioned, key outs in each inning thus far, but not this time as Young lines one into the left field corner. Valencia scores. Young into second with a double, and Minnesota has cut the lead in half. It's 4-2 Detroit.
Such a big hit by Delman Young, a 2-out RBI there to cut the lead in half. He's a doubles hitting machine here lately. Got a ball that he can handle down and in, and just laced it down the left field line. Good swing by Delman. And a huge RBI. It really is. When you're sitting on the bench and you're looking at a 4-0 lead, and you're in the 4th inning, the innings start getting away from you if you don't take advantage of the opportunities that present themselves. They got some guys on here, and have been able to catch 2 of them already. Now after 4 innings, it's no worse than a 2-run game, which is absolutely nothing for the Twins here at Target Field. It's a big inning. And a huge hit for Delman Young right there.
Resiliency has really been the key word for this Twins club on this entire homestand, within games and from game to game. They had fought from so far back in the AL Central to get within 5, and on this homestand alone they've gone from 5 to 7 to 5 to 7, and now stand at 6. A 2-game swing in the balance here today.
See, here's the sinker. This is a pitch that Danny Valencia hit for a double down the left field line, and now the one to Delman. That's good hitting there. Get that sinker up above the knees right there. The ball sinks into their bats, into their swings, and they're both able to hit the ball down the left field line. Good hitting. If that ball is 3 or 4 inches lower, that's either a swing and a miss or a ground ball to third right there. And make him get the ball that much higher was the difference between a couple outs and 2 doubles.
Tsuyoshi Nishioka struck out his first time up, chops one foul on the third base side. Now look at it again, Roy, and they're in almost the exact same spot.
Yeah, and the swings look awfully similar too, don't they? Nice extension. They had to throw the big end awfully quick. That ball's moving in on them. But good big league hitting.
Nishioka's had a tough series. 5 strikeouts in 10 at bats. takes inside, and the count is even at 2-2.
Nishioka's had so much to adjust to. I was talking to Joe Vava, and besides the obvious, obviously he's here in a different country and he doesn't speak the language and all of those things. But in just American baseball, different than Japanese baseball, one of the things is, Joe Vava told me, they don't call as many strikes. The umpires don't ring guys up over there as often as they do here. Right there is an example.
Right
that is not strike 3 in Japan, according to Joe Vava. And this is something he's going to have to get used to.
4-2 Tigers after 4.
Hit against him in 1969. He was with the Orlando Twins. I didn't do too good. I probably was one of the starts to his Hall of Fame career. But no, great guy and a great career, and really tickled for him.
One of the best curveballs ever?
Oh, no question about it. You know, when I see Verlander, I think a lot about Blyleven.
Jim Leyland talking about Bert Blyleven, inducted into the Hall of Fame earlier today.
And he's right. Those curveballs are very similar. Bert had a little bit harder throw it at the right-hand hitter, have it break away a little bit more than Verlander does. Verlander is a little bit more what we call 12-6, where it's just up and down. Here's Verlander to show you what I mean. Look, it starts out up about shoulder high, halfway to the plate, and then just keeps biting down. It's slower than Bert's. Bert's, you'll see here, you watch poor Chet Lemon's knees buckle here a little bit, because that ball starts hard at him and then breaks down and away. And those are really tough. Those are kind of just the suggestion of that pitch made me run over and become a switch hitter. And it didn't take Bert's quality curveball to get me over there either.
High in the air to left, twisting foul right into the seats. Peralta, Rayburn, and Betemit to face Anthony Swarzak here in the 5th inning. Crucial inning for Swarzak after Minnesota scored 2 in the bottom of the 4th to cut the Detroit lead to 4-2. Peralta singled and scored, knocked in a run as well in the 3rd inning. Now it's 1 ball, 2 strikes. But as we talked earlier, and you heard Bert in his induction acceptance speech, there was a lot more to Bert than statistics, a lot more than just curveballs. The broken bat roller up the middle. He was a character. He was colorful, and he was well known for practical jokes in the dugout, in the clubhouse. Here's Bert getting ready and giving the hot foot. And earlier today, Justin Verlander got Don Kelly.
It always amazed me how Bert could get those matches planted in the shoe without the guys knowing it. It just amazed me. But he went to great lengths. He'd crawl on his belly underneath the bench. He'd do all kinds of stuff to get there. It was hilarious. I mean, it was really difficult not to give it away because all the rest of us knew it was coming, and we were laughing. Just biting your tongue and chewing on towels and trying not to laugh.
I heard stories. We were talking about a weekend spent here last summer, the anniversary with the '87 championship team, and had a chance to hear some stories from some of those guys. And there was one Ken Herbeck told, just as you're saying, Bert literally crawled underneath the bench from one end of the dugout to the other in order to give a hot foot. Here's Revere on the track making the catch to get Rayburn. Our AT&T trivia question had to do with Bert Blyleven. I know the answer. Give me a guess. Most strikeouts against Bert Blyleven.
Boy, I don't have any kind of guess about that.
Hall of Fame hitter Reggie Jackson, I believe, is the answer.
Wow.
30 in 79 at bats. Reggie also hit a couple of home runs against Bert in his career.
But as you say, so did everybody. You know, that 30 striking out Reggie 30 times in 79 at bats, that should put you in the Hall of Fame by itself. That's an awesome statistic.
All right, I'll throw a follow-up to each of you. When we found Bert was being elected to the Hall of Fame, I had gone back and looked at some of his numbers. But Tim, Roy, how about this one? Who hit the most home runs against Bert? You probably called a couple of them, Tim.
Tim, you should know this.
Hey, Ron, I'm going to say Ron Kittle.
You're right.
Yeah, good call. That's right. He used to wear Bert out. Oh, my gosh, I'd forgotten about that.
Well, Tim probably did call a couple of them.
Yeah, you did, didn't you, Timmy? You called the wrong pitch. How many times?
I was accused of telling him what was coming.
Kittle hit 9 home runs against Bert in 44 at bats.
Wow. That's what you call wearing somebody out. But you know, Bert gave up so many solo home runs. I never thought much about that. He was such a competitor. He pitched so deep in games. He didn't give up a lot of 3-run home runs. You know that, Timmy.
It was, what would we call that, Roy? Catfish, hunterish?
Yeah, exactly right.
Thing.
Exactly right.
Is that an adjective? Catfish,
it is
hunterish?
now.
It is now.
A 2-out walk issued to Wilson Betemit, and Ramon Santiago will be the hitter. Anthony Swarzak came on in relief of Francisco Liriano with 1 out in the 3rd. Got the Twins out of that inning with no further damage. This is the first man to reach safely against him. Betemit with a 2-out walk in the 5th. Line to right at Jason Kubel. It's loud, but it's an out. And we go to the bottom of the 5th. Tigers 4, Twins 2.
Countdown to Cooperstown has expired. He's officially in the Baseball Hall of Fame, and we are officially in the Minnesota State Lottery Winner's Circle, and I've got $100 in Minnesota State Lottery tickets here for Jay Hawkinson. And look at his sign. Anthony and Roy, how appropriate on this day. They want Bert to get circled. How long did it take you to make this sign, Jay?
Oh, about 3 hours.
3 hours of work, but it's all worth it. You made the trip, stayed in the hotel, and now you're getting circled by Roy Smalley. Is that okay?
Exactly. Yep. Perfect.
So any words for Roy? You going to thank him for circling you?
Thanks for circling us, Roy, and congratulations, Bert.
There it is. We'll pass along your congratulations. There you go, Roy.
Revere retired on a bunt.
Well, it's my great honor to be sitting in this chair for Bert while he's having his big, not only day, but the whole weekend that he's had back there in Cooperstown. It's a great honor to be able to circle him for once, and it's an honor to have been a teammate of Bert's and played against him for so many years, and then to be a teammate of his. I'm just so happy for him. It's a great day.
Lexi Casilla, the hitter, with 1 out and the base is empty in the bottom of the 5th. Casilla with a base hit back through the middle in the 1st inning, grounded to 2nd in the 3rd. Twins finally able to take advantage of an opportunity against Porcello in the 4th inning as Casilla spins out of the way of an inside fastball.
Here's a pitch reminding him that you hit one back at me the first time up. Just don't do that again. Now do it again.
1-2.
The shadow there, you got to have a really good look at the shadow that the hitter is in. I always was okay until the pitcher, as long as the pitcher in the background, the hitter's background out there in center field, were in the same lighting. As soon as the shadow extended to the pitcher, if you can imagine taking a photograph that's backlit, and you don't see the faces very well of the people in the picture, that's kind of the way I would explain how hard that was.
Santiago to his right, and Casilla is retired. Click on the Fan Zone tab on the FoxSportsNorth.com homepage and win unbelievable prizes in the Fan Zone. Log on now to win a Kent Herbeck autographed baseball or bat courtesy of Carrier. If you're not a member, you can join now. It's fast and it's free. It's the Fan Zone at FoxSportsNorth.com. Mauer takes up and away. When you come to the ballpark, you can check out Herbeck's here at Target Field. I don't think any of these fans are concerned about a 2-run deficit.
There's only one deficit they would be concerned about.
Short left field, and a nice running catch, basket style, by Brennan Bosch to retire Mauer and the Twins in the 5th. Minnesota goes 1-2-3 for the first time in the game. 5 full, 4-2 Tigers.
Looks like we'll be going from seasonable to scorching. A very, very hot one here as the Twins open up their series with the Rangers, expecting mainly clear skies with the first pitch temperature into triple digits.
It's been a hot week here at Target Field, and it's about to get hotter for Minnesota as they embark on maybe the most important road trip of the season to date. 4 games in Texas, 3 in Oakland, 3 in Los Angeles against the Angels.
It'll be important for them to hold serve on that road trip. It most certainly will. They will not be able to. I won't say they will not be able to. It will be very difficult to stay in the race against these Tigers if they can't hold serve on the road. And a 10-day road trip, a 9 or 10-day road trips, that's tough duty. They're going to have to play well.
Swarzak delivers a strike. This is the final game of a 12-game homestand. 12 games in 11 days, all against divisional opponents. And the Twins currently stand 6-5 on the homestand. Going in, I really felt they had to have an 8-4 homestand in order to view it as a success, just for that reason, that it probably wasn't going to be enough to come here and play 500 baseball in this 12-game homestand because of how difficult the schedule that follows looms for Minnesota.
I think it could turn out to be difficult if it's just 500, but they've got enough games left with the division.
Here Jackson belts one into left field. Delman Young hustles over to cut it off, but Jackson will reach second base with a leadoff double in the 6th.
They have 9 more games after today. They have 9 more games with Detroit. They've got a bunch of games left with Cleveland and Chicago. We'll watch this pretty good pitch by Swarzak there. Austin Jackson just went down and got it. And then taking off, looking for double right from home plate. That's the key. Of course, with his speed, he was probably going to get double anyway, but you always love to see a guy hit the ball and get running hard right out of the box. You can run yourself into a lot of doubles that way that would otherwise be singles.
Fouled straight back.
But my point was just going to be that there is time left in other series to throw up really good numbers against division opponents. But at some point in time, you have to do it, and it's going to be easier. It figures to be easier at home than on the road, and so I'm sure that the Twins were looking to have an 8-4 at least homestand if they could.
And I think coming in, as you think about 8-4, right now they stand in a spot where 7-5 would send them on the road, still just 5 games behind.
No, it's fine.
Certainly within striking distance, but at the same time, you've now lost 11 days in your challenge to make up this ground because they were 5 back when the homestand started. 1-1 pitch, fouled back, 1 ball, 2 strikes.
That's right, and Tom Kelly talked about that when he sat in this chair for a few games and said, you know, you start running out of games with which to come back. But I don't think that this homestand in this series against Detroit and Cleveland were absolutely critical yet. It's going to get that way at some point in time, but they have the ability to get themselves in a better position by having a good road trip, and you never know what the other teams are going to do.
Skied to center. Revere shielding the sun has it for the first out. Log on to FoxSportsNorth.com all day long for coverage of Bert Blyleven's induction into the Hall of Fame. Check out the stories, the latest news, and more. All available to you at FoxSportsNorth.com. Maglio Ordonez, the hitter, walked, stole a base, and scored a run in the 3rd. He's 0 for 2. Fouled away at the plate, no balls and a strike. Jackson at second after a leadoff double. Burnett and James throwing in the Minnesota bullpen as Swarzak works to finish his third full inning. Plus got the final 2 outs back in the third. Swing and a miss.
Another good pitch. A good slider there, looked like. He's done everything that the Twins would hope that he would have done. He's pitched three innings here. If he can get out of this inning, having kept the score where it was with 3 2/3 innings, that's a terrific day's work from in a very difficult situation. That long man, especially come in with the bases loaded. Another great slider. I've been impressed with Anthony Swarzak's ability to pitch in spotty roles, both spot starting and long relief, and have as good a command as he's had. He has gotten his mechanics, worked with that man right there, Rick Anderson, is one of the best in the game. Worked on it to get his mechanics and his approach on the mound to be consistent, and he's really, really come in and thrown some quality pitches and quality innings here.
High in the air to right. Kubel back a couple steps. Jackson setting up for a tag. He'll advance to third. But the Twins will trade an out for 90 feet. Now 2 out. And Miguel Cabrera, the hitter. Well, to your point, Roy, as I mentioned earlier, he threw 1 inning in yesterday's Twins win. He had started 5 days earlier and beaten Cleveland when he filled in for Scott Baker. Lost to Cleveland, rather. But prior to that, it had been 8 days since he started against the White Sox. And prior to that, it had been another 4 days since a relief appearance. It's hard to get on the routine that starting pitchers have grown accustomed to over the years.
He does not have that routine. That's exactly the point. And to get starts when you're not on that routine, and then in between your kind of funny routine. Oh, and by the way, we give us 3 2/3 here against a very, very good hitting Tiger lineup in a very, very big game, and to do this well is, I mean, good for him. He's done a terrific job. Now I think right here you pitch around Cabrera. This is hard for a young guy to do, but you try to pitch around him. He threw it right by him there. And I'm a little surprised at Cabrera's at bats. He has not looked like Miguel Cabrera in this series against the Twins. He's gotten some hits, but he swung and missed more pitches than I remember him swinging and missing. The Twins have gotten in on him. He's missed sliders away. But I still think as good as Victor Martinez is as a left-hand hitter coming up next, I still think you don't let this guy beat you. It's a 4-2 game. And especially with him not appearing to swing as well as he can right now in this streak, I'd punish him on the perimeters of the strike zone and just see if you can get him to swing at a bad pitch and get himself out. If you walk him, you walk him.
2-1 gets by Mauer, and Jackson will score. Twins have been very generous to the Tigers here today. Liriano threw 2 wild pitches in the second inning.
That will be scored a wild pitch, but that's a ball right there that Joe's kicking himself that he didn't block. That's a blockable ball. A guy of his ability, that he knows that's something that he can get in the way of. He just came up a little bit, didn't get his glove all the way down. And the Twins have a little uncharacteristic today. 2 guys that are real good defensive players. Joe on that one, and Lexi Casilla on a potential double play ball, not making the play. And there's a difference in the game right now.
Cabrera draws a 2-out walk. And Ron Gardenhire will come to the mound and call on the left-hander.
Yep, he'll get Martinez turned around to the right side where he's not as effective.
Chuck James will be the new Minnesota pitcher. Tigers leading 5-2. Church or family group, then right here at Target Field there are some dates in the final half of the season that might be the perfect fit for your group outing. Call 800-33-TWINS or visit twinsbaseball.com/groups to check out all the options available to groups of 25 or more. Hopefully we'll see you here at the ballpark. Chuck James, the new Minnesota pitcher. It will force Victor Martinez to hit from the right side rather than the left. In his career, he's been about the same from either side of the plate, but this year he's been much better as a left-handed hitter, hitting nearly 100 points higher from the left side against right-handed pitching. So Ron Gardenhire will play those percentages and hand the ball to James, who's been scored upon in each of his last 2 outings. Cabrera with almost no lead at first base, but James throws over.
And almost no chance of deciding to steal second base either. I think he's there till somebody forces him to run.
Martinez fouls the first pitch back. Victor 1 for 3 in the game, had an infield single and scored a run in a 3-run Detroit third inning. See his numbers this year. But as I mentioned, in his career, the numbers are about the same. 302 as a left-handed hitter, 298 as a right-handed hitter.
I've always felt like he had more power left-handed than right-handed. He's certainly a good hitter, good switch hitter, good from both sides of the plate. But I think a little bit better left-hand hitter, especially where the power numbers come in.
Cabrera at first with 2 out in the 6th. Tigers have added a run to the lead and are up by 3. 2 of their 5 runs have scored on wild pitches. 2 of the 5 runs have been scored by Tigers who have walked.
Twins are a little bit lucky to be where they are with those statistics that you just recited, of walking people and not making plays that they would normally make. They're still in this game, and they can come back and win it despite so far not playing their most crisp game in the field.
1 ball, 2 strikes with 2 out. High, and it's 2-2. Twins started play today, 6 back of Detroit. Tigers were 1 ahead of Cleveland. The Indians were beaten at home by the White Sox today. Edwin Jackson beat Justin Masterson. Into center, and it's down for a hit in front of Revere. Cabrera will check in at second base. Victor Martinez wins the battle against Chuck James, and now Johnny Peralta will hit.
Well, he got up and in on him, and he just muscled the ball into right center field. Didn't hit it real well, but he's a strong guy. And again, we talked before, when you get in on somebody, if the ball's up, you got a chance to get it over the infield. If that ball's down, it's a ground ball somewhere.
Very important hitter for James. 2 men on, 2 out. Tigers already up by 3. Peralta with 9 hits in 16 at bats in the series, and you see those numbers posted by Peralta this year in case you're wondering why Ron Gardenhire would not go to a right-hander here to face one of the hottest hitters in the Tiger lineup. That's why he's actually hit right-handers better than left-handers this year.
But still done some damage, hitting .289 against left-handers, and has been hot as can be in this series. What's been amazing to me, an amazing stat for all of these guys in the middle of the lineup for the Tigers, is their batting averages with runners in scoring position, especially with 2 out.
Well hit left field. Delman Young back. He's on the track, and he makes the catch. Peralta retired on a long fly ball to left center field. 5-2 Detroit. Light 6th inning. Now it's time for the Coors Light Freeze Cam. Bert Blyleven inducted into the Hall of Fame in Cooperstown. See the plaque. Moved inside those walls along with Robbie Alomar. We were talking about this earlier, Roy. With Alomar going into the Hall of Fame along with Bert today, has there been a better defensive second baseman?
Not in my lifetime that I've watched, I don't think. I think he's the best I ever saw play that position defensively.
10 Gold Gloves, 12 All-Star games in his career.
And those plays you see him making right there, and boy, could he hit too. Just a terrific player all around. Could run the bases. Those plays we saw defensively, those are almost routine for him too. He was a terrific player, and he played with such grace. Everything looked easy. Even those difficult plays they made, he just made them look so easy.
Jason Kubel, the hitter, 1 ball, 1 strike. Tough afternoon so far for Kubel with a pair of strikeouts.
Shadow looks tough.
And now 2-1. We're getting very close to the point to which you referred earlier, where the shadow will cover the pitcher but not the batter's eye. Kubel swings and hits one in the air to center. Jackson fighting the sun is there and has it for the second out. Time now for the CenturyLink high-speed pitch of the game. Rick Porcello at 93 for the Tigers. Liriano, who lasted only 2 1/3 innings for Minnesota, hit 94. I guess that's a testament to what you had talked about, Roy, that he had good stuff today, just couldn't throw enough strikes.
It's important against any team, but especially in the big leagues, but especially the Tigers, who have such a good lineup up 1 through 9. Never really a break, and you have to make them hit consecutively. You can't give them extra bases with bases on balls. We saw some wild pitches and unable to finish guys off. I thought Frankie had really good stuff. There were times when his mechanics were great, and he looked, I mean, the Tiger hitters just had no chance, but you keep giving them opportunities by walking guys and getting behind, and they find a way.
This one's hit a long way to left field. It is caught in foul territory, and Valencia is retired. A fine running catch in the corner by Brennan Bosch, and the Twins go in order in the 6th.
Special thank you to Dick Bramer, my play-by-play partner, for putting up with me for over these last 16 years. And to all the Twin fans for allowing us into your homes.
Bert Blyleven inducted into the Hall of Fame earlier today. We are all honored to spend as many nights as we do with Bert at the ballpark. Echo his thoughts that with how much we appreciate the Twins fans allowing all of us to be a part of your lives.
And great fans they are. It's great to be able to talk baseball. to talk baseball with Twins fans it really is a pleasure. And Bert's absolutely right about that.
Chop foul by Ryan Rayburn. Wilson Benemit and Ramon Santiago will follow for the Tigers in the 7th against Minnesota left-hander Chuck James, who's their 3rd pitcher. He follows Francisco Liriano and Anthony Swarzak. Came on to get the last out of the 6th inning. Got it on a warning track fly ball by Johnny Peralta. Tigers in front 5-2. They've been playing from in front most of the way. Scored the game's first run in the top of the 2nd and have led ever since. Speaking of warning track fly balls, Danny Valencia hit one here to end the Minnesota 6th. It was in foul territory anyway, but a fine running catch by Brennan Bosch.
When Danny hit that ball, I thought he had enough to get it in the seats. I think Danny thought he had enough to get it in the seats when he first hit it. Looks like the wind's blowing in from left field. It might have affected it a little bit. The flag's up on top of the left field grandstand, up high, blowing in. Cross to the right field foul line. Might have hurt.
Swing and a miss by Rayburn, and James has his first strikeout. Well, we've been watching games here now, Roy, for a year and a half.
There's a strikeout.
Take a look
James.
at the strikeout
Yep.
on Fox Tracks, brought to you by Carrier. And we've been trying to figure out the wind patterns, because there are times where the flags are blowing in and it looks like the ball carries a little bit down the line. And what are your thoughts and what have you learned about the way the air travels and whether or not those flags are an accurate indication?
I've been trying to figure that out. I've been trying to look at when balls carry and what the wind is doing so that I can try to make some kind of determination because in the old Comiskey, for example, when the flags on the flags were blowing in and it looked like there's no way that they could not be blowing in, but you look at other flags and they were blowing a different direction and you had to look at one flag over another. And so I thought maybe there might be a pattern here where we could tell, but I haven't been able to come up with that yet. And I know I've been on the field after games. We were doing an instructional after the game that we do on our Twins Live post-game show, and the wind was really swirling. We were in short center field, and the wind was swirling around. The flags looked like they were blowing out to left, but as I looked at the left field foul pole, the wind was in my face. So it's really hard to tell in here. The wind really circles around, and if you look around the ballpark, there are some openings in between the grandstand that create a little bit of a wind tunnel, I think, and so the wind really does swirl around.
There are some times it has appeared that balls right down the left field line get help regardless of the direction the flags are moving. Into left center, Revere drifting over and has it for the second out. You'll have a great chance on Wednesday and Thursday to bid on one-of-a-kind items and experiences as the Twins and Fox Sports North host the first ever Twins broadcast auction. Visit twinsbaseball.com/community right now to get acquainted with the 10 items that'll be up for auction beginning on Wednesday night. Tune into the broadcast both nights and make your bids. All proceeds from the Twins broadcast auction will benefit the Twins Community Fund. Twins are in Texas Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday.
Speaking of good hitting lineups.
Two out, nobody on. Ramon Santiago, the hitter, in the top of the 7th. Tigers chase Francisco Liriano from the game in the 3rd inning. He allowed 4 runs on 6 hits in 2 1/3. Anthony Swarzak came on and gave them 3 1/3 innings of solid relief with 1 run allowed. And now Chuck James trying to finish the 7th against the number 9 hitter. 2 balls, 2 strikes, 2 out. Fouled into the seats. Challenge for the Twins throughout this series has been to try to get the Tigers starters off the mound and get into their bullpen. But again here today, despite a number of opportunities in the early innings, Rick Porcello has been able to pitch out of trouble often enough. Kept himself in the game through 6.
A couple of big at bats early. The Twins had a chance to chase him, really break it open, couldn't get it done. He's got good stuff, and he's pitched well against the Twins. For some reason, he matches up really, really well with some of the key Twins hitters. Michael Kadire has not hit him well. Jason Kubel has hit him very well before today, but has had a little trouble today. That could be a little bit of a carryover from having been out for so long and not seeing big league pitching. By and large, Porcello's pitched very well against the Twins.
Austin Jackson 1 for 3 in the game, doubled and scored in the 6th. He also walked in the 2nd. 2 on 1 out. Santiago not much of a threat to run. James throws over. Tigers tied for last in the American League as a team with 35 steals coming in, and 16 of those 35 owned by the man at the plate, Austin Jackson. James has Santiago breaking back to the bag as he delivers to the plate, and he's now ahead 0-2.
We talked a little bit about this on Friday night, Anthony, when you're managing your manager Jim Leland and you're managing a lineup full of thunder like he has. It does tend to slow down your excitement about getting guys started. You don't want to run yourself out of innings because a 2 or 3 run home run, it always seems to be lurking in your mind. You know that anybody up there that he runs up there in his lineup's got a chance to hit the ball off or over the fence.
Swing and a miss. James gets Jackson 2 strikeouts in the inning, and now it's time for the 7th inning stretch, brought to you by Medica.
To you by McDonald's. Try a strawberry banana or wild berry fruit smoothie today. By CenturyLink. Quest is becoming CenturyLink. CenturyLink. Your link begins here. Find out more at CenturyLink.com. And by Goldman Sachs. For all the reasons you invest. Mutual funds from Goldman Sachs.
Time now for our Grand Casino story of the game in the 2nd inning. After a couple of walks and an infield hit, a wild pitch by Francisco Liriano allowed the first run of the game to score. Then in the third, a walk, a stolen base, an infield hit, and then a broken bat single by Johnny Peralta. Then a base hit by Wilson Betemit that chased Liriano from the mound. He wasn't happy about it. Tigers had a 4-0 lead. In the fourth, the Twins came back. Jim Thome drove in a run with a ground ball, and Delman Young drove in another with this double into the corner. That made it 4-2. But another run scored on a wild pitch in the sixth, and the Tigers lead the Twins 5-2 as we go into the bottom of the seventh. I was looking at that number on the top. 11 runners left on base for the Tigers through 7. And Minnesota, even though they've left only 4, had a number of opportunities early. They had a double play, erase 1 runner, but had men in scoring position that were left on base in each of the first 4 innings.
And the story really is those missed opportunities when they could have really gotten a couple innings going, and then a couple of miscues defensively, along with the walks and the wild pitches by Francisco Liriano, and that's really the difference in the game. It's little things so often in the big leagues make a difference in a ball game, and if you're not playing crisply, both with your efficiency on the mound and your plays in the field, you find yourself down 3 runs pretty regularly.
Rookie right-hander Al Albuquerque on for Detroit. First man he'll face is Jim Thome. And he misses away. Albuquerque throws hard. 51 strikeouts in 32 innings for this rookie.
He's another one where you could describe as having electric stuff. Throws hard, the ball moves, and he's got just a wicked slider. Hard and the good sideways and downward break. You want that slider to tilt a little bit, and he's got a good one.
Gave up a hit and a walk in 1 inning of work on Friday night. Has held opposing hitters to a 149 batting average in his rookie season. Has not yet allowed a home run. And now he evens the count against Thome at 2-2. Jim has doubled and then knocked in a run with a ground ball. 2-2 pitch. Got him.
There's that slider. A little tough to see right now. We talked about the shadows, and then guy throwing hard. You start gearing up for that fastball and start swinging a little bit early. Here it comes. Get ready. Here's the low fastball. Nope, it's down and in. Hard slider.
Delman Young will hit for Minnesota. Delman drove in a run with a double in the fourth. For some reason, there are some pitchers for whom 92 and 93 looks a lot faster, and Albuquerque's one of those guys.
He's got a lot of life right in the zone. That's why, and it's hard to explain what that means. It separates real good pitchers and hard throwers from everybody else. The ball just keeps riding and keeps zipping through the zone all the way. This is what I hated. This background, this when the background was light and the pitcher was in the dark, that was hard seeing. Good swing by Delman. He saw that ball okay.
Doesn't bother Young, and he's aboard with a 1-out single in the seventh.
He got a little bit of a cookie here. Ball in the middle of the plate after seeing some tough pitches. Albuquerque throws one in the middle of the plate, and Delman gets a knock.
Tsuyoshi Nishioka is 0 for 2 with 2 strikeouts. swinging in the third, looking in the fourth. Tigers have had his number here this weekend. He struck out 6 times in 11 at bats. And now he's behind in the count, 0-2. He didn't like that one. Has to be a short conversation between he and Gary Cederstrom.
I think he's probably learned how to say that ball's not a strike.
And now 1-2. It looked like he said something to Cederstrom after that pitch.
See that the quick little hip move right there by Nishioka. We were talking about that the other night. That's what he and Joe Vava are going to work on, trying to stay a little bit squarer, a little bit longer.
Got him again.
And that's a nasty pitch, but this is what we were talking about. If you watch his front hip as he strides, that spinning open right there really slows the bat down. It makes you feel like you're beat. It makes you get anxious at bad pitches. It is the bane of all hitters everywhere. We all do it at some period of time during the course of the season where you get a little quick with that front hip, and it really messes everything up.
So with 2 out, Ben Revere is the hitter. Revere walked and stole a base in the 3rd inning. He's 0 for 2. Tried to bunt his way on last time.
What's interesting about these shadows in a day game like this too is that when there are no shadows, when you're in the sunshine, the ball comes up and it looks white. You see the white of the baseball coming at you. And when you're in these shadows, it looks dark. It comes up looking brown. It's a completely different view of the baseball. Harder to see spin on a ball. That's why sliders are tough. You can see a different spin on a slider most times in the light. It's harder to see the seams spinning when you're in the shadow like this.
Strike called, 2-1.
See, this is what the hitter's looking at, and what's even worse is now you see the ball. See how the ball looks dark and then comes in and becomes white again. When it's sunlight outside, you see that white all the time.
2 balls and 2 strikes. You get an idea watching Albuquerque why the Tigers are so excited about this young, hard-throwing right-hander.
Yeah, he's got a great arm, and just as I said, electric stuff. You don't want to throw that term around too loosely, but he really does have it.
Revere fouls it away. Ben trying to get back on track. He's been stuck in a bit of a slump lately after he had really started to surge for Minnesota. Had a great series against Kansas City to open this homestand, but the Indians and Tigers have really shut him down. Another 2-2. That's low, and it means Delman Young will be off and running. Revere with the 0 for 2 here today. Just 2 hits in his last 30 trips.
As I've said before, sometimes you take a pitch just because you can't hit it. There's no sense swinging at it.
Back up the middle, and Albuquerque stabs it. Revere retired on a comebacker for the 3rd time. 7 full. Tigers 5, Twins 2. And our Game Connect. It's a revolutionary interactive tool available during all Twins games. Combines statistical visualizations, conversation on social websites, everything that a passionate fan needs to maximize their viewing experience. While you're watching the game, check out foxsportsnorth.com and the Game Connect. Twins go to the bullpen once more. Alex Burnett comes on, replacing Chuck James. He's the fourth pitcher to throw for Minnesota this afternoon. And in the eighth inning, he'll face Bosch, Ordonez, and Cabrera, trying to keep the Twins within striking distance. They trail 5-2 in this series finale. Minnesota needs a win to salvage a split in the series and to head out of town on a 10-game road trip in the same spot they were when they started this 12-game homestand, and that's 5 games out in the Central.
Good job by Anthony Swarzak to get him to this point after Francisco Liriano left after 2 1/3 innings. Now Alex Burnett and possibly some others need to hold him right here. Twins give him a chance to come back.
3 1/3 for Swarzak. 1 1/3 for James in relief of Liriano, and now Burnett on for the 8th. Burnett ahead 0-2. Bosch is 1 for 4. Got him on strikes. 7th strikeout for Twins pitching today.
And speaking of fastball with a lot of life on it, Alex Burnett just blows it by Brennan Bosch here. High fastball, tough for left-handers right there. That's a tough pitch for anybody. Probably ball 4. I mean, probably not strike 3. Probably a ball.
Ordonez well behind. Off-speed pitch from Burnett.
He says, what the heck? I can't see that. The background's light. The pitcher's in dark. It comes back into light. It's tough right now. Yeah, right. Ordonez says, okay, I didn't see that slider, so I got to stay on, keep my head down there and keep looking at that slider, and then they come up and in, and I'm not seeing the ball so well anyway.
1 ball, 1 strike. Doesn't look as intimidating from the center field camera, does it?
Nope. When you're looking at it from the center field, that camera's in the light, but this is what the hitter's looking at for the most part. And it's the in and out of the different light shades that are the biggest problem. And again, like I said before, if you can imagine a picture that's been taken that's backlit, the subject of the picture is quite a bit in shadow, and you don't get as clear a picture of the actual subject matter. That's the way it is when you're standing up there at the plate and the background is in light, and it's very brilliantly light behind the pitcher, but he's in the dark and you're in the dark. It just makes it tough to see.
Missed with an off-speed pitch, and the count runs full, 3-2.
Yeah, you see the difference there. I'd rather hit from the center field camera.
Casilla, the first in time to get Ordonez. The Our Family Brands family section is back this season, beginning at just $23. You can get a ticket in the family section, a Schweigert's hot dog, and a Pepsi. Ticket availability is limited, so if you want to sit in the Our Family Brands family section, call 833-TWINS tonight or visit twinsbaseball.com. Into right field, Kubel Watches it drop in foul territory. It's remarkable the difference that we've seen in these shadows and in the sun here this afternoon with the start time at 3 o'clock rather than 1 o'clock. Even though at 1 o'clock there's still bright sunshine, in many of the other day games we haven't seen it be a major factor here, but today it's caused some problems.
Yeah, it's when you get to this time of day, it really is right about 5 o'clock. From 5 o'clock to 7, it gets a little tough. And so the normal noon or 1 o'clock starting times, you don't normally get there. And this is the way it is in most stadiums around the country, most ballparks. This time of day, because of where the sun is and the high grandstands.
And you could see the break between the upper deck here and the canopy above, and that's what causes the change in shadow here as the sun sets behind us at Target Field.
Right.
1 ball, 2 strikes, 2 out. And Burnett steps off. Eighth inning might be the key for Minnesota with the bats, with Casilla, Maurer, and Kadire scheduled to hit. Valencia snares it. Cabrera retired. The Tigers go in order in the 8th against Burnett, but they still lead 5-2 as we go to the bottom of the 8th.
To the Detroit Tigers here at Target Field. We've got continuing coverage coming your way on Twins Live, presented by CenturyLink, featuring the Toyota post-game wrap. Tim Laudner, Kevin Gorg, Roy Smalley going to be a part of it. Frustrated Frankie, that's Francisco Liriano. And the tough outing had today, location and the wildness got to him again today early in the ballgame. Gripping the baseball is the instructional tonight, and that's for kids to show the proper throwing grip for kids when they playing baseball. Roy Smalley, Tim Laudner are going to show kids how to grip the baseball when throwing the proper way. Plus, Ron Gardenhire's post-game press conference, all that and more, is coming your way on Twins Live, presented by CenturyLink, as Joaquin Benoit takes to the mound. Anthony.
That's coming up following the game. Twins will try to rally and make it an even more exciting show. Casilla, Maurer, and Kadire will hit in the 8th against right-handed reliever Joaquin Benoit.
Benoit throws hard. He's got a nice changeup, but really an excellent changeup. Twins got to get a good pitch hit, not chase stuff on the perimeters of the zone like that. That's where he wants to live. and he will throw changeups in some funny situations. So you got to have a good second look at the ball. Make sure you're seeing it a long way.
Inside, 2 balls and no strikes. Ryan Rayburn moves from right to left, and Don Kelly comes into the game. Play right field. He'll hit in Bosch's spot in the lineup, which was the number 2 spot. Two balls and a strike. Casilla trying to get something started for Minnesota. Fouls this away, and it's now even at 2-2. He had a base hit in the first. 1 for 3. We've been talking throughout this series about the Twins trying to get into the Tiger bullpen. They are last in the American League with a 4.75 bullpen ERA, just a fraction of a point higher than the Twins. The Twins number is a little deceiving because for most of the year they didn't have all their pieces in place. Right now I think the Minnesota bullpen looks much different than those numbers would indicate.
It really does. They've all kind of settled into roles out there for manager Ron Gardenhire to be able to use as he sees fit. They're doing very well in those roles.
Matt Capps up and throwing for Minnesota. Looks like he will get the 9th, barring a Minnesota rally here in the bottom of the 8th.
I'm surprised at the Tiger bullpen numbers. They've got some really good arms out there, especially the right-handers. Benoit started very strong. Albuquerque's got a great arm.
To first, right at Cabrera. Casilla is out leading off the 8th. Fox Sports North supports Feed My Starving Children. You can help by sending a text to 80000. Text the word meals and you can make a $10 donation. Visit foxsportsnorth.com to find out other ways you can help families and children across the world. Great cause, and those meals they pack are so inexpensive. $10 can make a major difference. Bauer takes a strike. Joe's 1 for 3, singled in the first inning. Looked like Minnesota had a chance to jump in front. With Casilla running in front of him, Joe lined one down the left field line, and the Twins had runners on the corners with 1 out. But it was the first of several opportunities that got away from Minnesota when Michael Kadire hit into a double play to end the inning. I mentioned it right then that the Twins, such a different club when playing from in front. When they score the first run of the game, they are 21 games over 500. When they allow it, they're 27 games under 500. And today the Tigers not only scored first, they scored the first 4. Here's the 0-2. Into left field. Rayburn is there.
And as hot, you talk about the double play that Michael Kadire hit into with runners on first and third there in the first inning. As hot as he's been, as well as he's swinging the bat, he has never done well against Porcello. And it's always been amazing to me how that seems to play out over guys' careers. There's some guys that they wear out, and some guys that they don't hit well. It happens to everybody. Somebody's got, like Ron Kittle and Bert Blyleven, and on the other side, Michael Kadire and Porcello.
Kadire with the 0 for 2 against Porcello today, just 3 for 24 in his career against the Tiger right-hander. That's a 125 average. He did walk and score in the 4th inning. Here he bats with 2 out and the base is empty. 2-0. Jason Kubel waits on deck. Twins' only 2 runs came in the 4th. Double by Danny Valencia helped set the table. Jim Thome drove in 1 with a ground ball. Delman Young the other with a double into the left field corner. 2-1. Foul down the right field line, and the count even at 2-2. Twins leave for Texas following the game today. 4-game series with the Rangers starts tomorrow night. Rangers have been one of the hottest teams in baseball and have opened up a 4-game lead over the Angels in the West. Athletics and the Angels also on that upcoming trip for the Twins. Tigers are on to Chicago. They'll complete this 7-game road trip with 3 against the White Sox. Then they get the Angels and the Rangers at home. Here's the 3-2. Line to center, right at Jackson, who barely moves, and the Twins go in order in the 8th. 13 Twins hitters in a row retired. It's 5-2. Bert Blyleven inducted into the Hall of Fame today. He was famous for a curveball, his pitching, but also his dugout hijinks. And that right there is a pretty impressive hot foot delivered by Justin Verlander to Don Kelly.
Wow, he got it good. I think he had 2 books flaming there.
That's our Jimmy John's delivery of the game.
You know the life of a starting pitcher, I got to tell you.
4 out of 5 days you're
giving people hot feed and
people hot feed
after you come in off the golf course.
9th inning here at Target Field. Matt Capps will face Victor Martinez, Johnny Peralta, and Ryan Rayburn, trying to keep the Twins within striking distance so that they can stay within striking distance in the Central. They're 6 games out and 3 runs down here in the 9th. Martinez with a base hit to start the 9th inning.
That's a little bit of a wake-up call in the game. Fastball right back at his noggin. Man, that is dangerous. But the heart's pumping, the adrenaline's going now. Back in the game. Man. Ball about belt high without any sink on it. Good hitter. That's what they do. Nightcaps wants to be back down there with the ball sinking.
Peralta 1 for 4 in the game. A broken bat single in the third that knocked in a run. He scored as well in the inning. That was the inning that gave the Tigers a lead they have not yet relinquished. They scored 3 in the inning to stretch it out to 4-0. One pitch, ground ball left side. Valencia, Casilla, Kadire, a double play for Minnesota.
Nice play by Lexi there, knowing that he had some time. He came all the way across the bag. Then he gives him a throw a little bit into the runner, so Lexi kitty cat steps a couple of steps to get out of the way of the runner and then uses that strong arm. He knew he had time because the ball was hit so sharply. He didn't have to stand there, wait, and get hit by the runner. Boy, you can do an awful lot with when you have a strong arm. It changes so much of an infielder's game when he's got a good arm like Lexi does. You don't see second baseman with arms like that oftentimes. Usually when an infielder can throw like that, you get put at shortstop, which where Lexi's played a lot also, but it's such a great advantage. You can do so many more things at second base when you have a shortstop's arm.
We talked earlier about the fact that Bert Blyleven went into the Hall of Fame today at the same time as Robbie Alomar's, a line drive to center. He might have been the best of his era at second base. He might be looking at one of the tops in the league here.
He's playing like that recently.
Parents, Joe and Jenny Blyleven. After battling Parkinson's for many years, my pops passed away in 2004. I wish he was here. But you know, Mom, I know he's up there looking down right now. Mommy, I love you.
Bert Blyleven became the 4th player to go in the Hall of Fame as a Minnesota Twin today. Maybe that guy next to him someday will join him.
I was just going to say, hard to imagine that guy next to him not in there as well, and should have been in a long time ago.
Twins need a rally here in the bottom of the 9th. They trail by 3. Kubel, Valencia, and Thome will bat for the Twins. They've already had some dramatic victories on this homestand. None bigger than Tuesday night's win over Cleveland. After being swept in a doubleheader on Monday, they trailed the Indians 1-0 into the bottom of the ninth. Danny Valencia provided the game winner. Here, Valencia would have to settle for being part of the rally because he's due to hit second against Tiger closer Jose Valverde. Kubel 0 for 3 with 2 strikeouts. And it's 2-0, and Valverde will get an early visit from his catcher.
I like catchers talking to their pitchers a lot when they see something. Timmy Laudner alluded to it earlier with catchers catching Francisco Liriano. But it's really easy to see when a pitcher like Valverde throws 2 balls up and away to start an inning. That is so atypical, so uncharacteristic of him. He's got a good fastball. He keeps it down pretty well. He's usually throwing strike after strike. And so something's a little bit goofy when he comes in 2-0, throwing the ball up and away. Again, a little mechanical thing, staying with your front shoulder longer, or get on top of the ball with your wrist just a little bit better. Whatever it is, that's the key for him. The catcher knows about it. And good for him that he didn't waste any time getting out there trying to get him back in the zone. There's a little bit better height-wise, but again, letting his release point out away from a little bit, which allows the ball to tail outside the strike zone.
Valverde almost a strikeout per inning this year, 41 in 42 1/3 innings, but a problematic walk total of 25 in those same frames. He's managed to avoid too much trouble with him. He hasn't blown a save yet this year. 25 for 25.
He's got a great equalizer pitch, a split finger that he's got that's just terrific. It comes out of his hand looking like a fastball. He throws hard enough to have you really respect it. You have to be getting ready in a hurry for that fastball, and the split finger comes up and the bottom falls out of it, and that's what he goes to when he's in trouble.
Kubel hits it sharply. Peralta scoops it up and throws him out. 1 up and 1 down for the Twins in the ninth. Valverde has lost 3 games this year, but has not blown a save. Perfect 25 of 25, and that leads all American League relief pitchers.
Tigers trying to figure out the best possible way that they're going to get to Valverde the second half of the season. Get the bridge from the starters to this guy. He's a good closer, as his record would, as save record would indicate. They've had a little trouble getting to him with the setup guys in the bullpen. That's where they're searching. And interesting, they had very little success with left-handers out there.
Little blooper into short right field, and it'll drop for a hit. Danny Valencia aboard with 1 out. It's time now for the Coors Light cold hard blast. Perhaps a precursor of a blast as Jim Thome comes to the plate. Hit his first 334 home runs with the Indians. The next 96 with the Phillies. 134 with the White Sox. And then 32 in a year and a half with the Twins. That all adds up to 596. Twins fans hoping for 597 right here.
I have a hard time even being able to say that someone's hit 596 home runs. That's just amazing.
Only 7 men have hit more. Over for a strike. We've been talking so much about the Hall of Fame today, and Bert Blyleven, of course, going in. But when you look around the league at players we might be watching that will someday be there, this guy certainly at the top of that list.
He's an absolute lock. There's no question about that. He will be there joining Bert when it's time.
Valencia moves to second. Defensive indifference. And Tomey takes down and away. It's 1 ball, 1 strike. Fans preparing in right field. Get your gloves ready. Make sure that if you think you're going to catch it, get out of Tim Laudner's way if he says, I got it. Foul ball on a check swing by Tomey. Tim Laudner and Kevin Gord prepping for the post-game show that's coming up immediately following. They look like they're prepping, don't they?
They look kind of similar out there in the right field plaza to me. I don't know.
Well, I think they have the same hairstylist.
I am not. You and I have been the subject of so many cheap, gratuitous hair comments. I wasn't going there.
It's just one of the ways they look similar. Tomey takes low, and it's 2 balls, 2 strikes.
A lot of fastballs.
They share the same happy demeanor.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. That's exactly the way I would have described Tim Laudner's demeanor. Just downright ebullient.
Valverde thought he had this one. Ooh.
Yeah, he's saying, you know, there's sun up here. Be careful.
And I don't think those glasses he's wearing provide much protection from the sun. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Ground ball to the right side. Cabrera beats Tomey to the bag. There are 2 out. The Twins are down to their last out. And Delman Young, the hitter, trying to somehow figure out a way to get the tying run to the plate. If he can reach, he will do that.
Valverde throwing all fastballs. We haven't seen that daunting split finger pitch that he has yet. He's throwing all fastballs. Let's see if Delman can pick one out and drive one somewhere.
Trevor Plouffe has moved out on deck. He would hit for Nishioka if Delman can reach and extend the inning. Twins down by 3. The tying run's on deck, but there are 2 out in the bottom of the 9th. And Young takes a strike. Young drove in a run for Minnesota in the 4th with a double. He also singled in the 7th. Can he find a way to reach base? Here's the 0-1. 0-2. Twins down to their last strike. The 0-2 from Valverde. Inside, 1 ball, 2 strikes. Tigers would love to shove the Twins 7 games back. Make it 12 wins in their last 13 games against Minnesota. Only win in that stretch for the Twins was yesterday afternoon. The 1-2. Fouled away. Delman stays alive.
In these situations, you're always just trying to battle to get the tying run to the plate. Somehow, everybody battle the best they can. Let's get the tying run to the plate and see what happens. You just never know.
Valverde ready. And the 1-2. Got him. Valverde has his 26th save in 26 tries. And the Tigers make it 3 out of 4 against the Twins. Kevin?
Yeah, the homestand ends 6-6. Minnesota now on the road for 10 consecutive. We'll break down a frustrating day for Frankie Fastball. Our instruction will take you on the field, teach you how to grip and throw the baseball. We'll hear from Ron Gardner and preview the 10-game roadie.